Hello? Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good. I think I got everything up and running. I was sitting here like trying to clean up my mess from recording. Trying to get everything else working too. Hope everyone's doing well today. I still don't have a video out because I was sitting here trying to record this, and I guess what was it? Railway was having like some weird outage specifically in my region exactly when I started recording, so I couldn't get it deployed. Took probably 40 to 50 minutes just to get the Railway app to work, and I was like, all right, let's just restart the recording again. And then I got through it all, and I was like, oh no, it's already 5. What am I gonna do? So yeah, I have to actually like edit the video at some point, but that's okay. We'll leave it for tomorrow. Tomorrow problem. Although I do also have to go through here. Okay, I'm going to do that real quick. I have to go through here and like cancel all of these servers that I spun up for this. Because I went through the, like we said, the Fly.io, the Railway, the Render. I went through each one and I set up a service, and then now I got to come in here and figure out how to stop them all before I get billed for all of this stuff. All right, here we go. It's Friday, yay. Yeah, thank God. I have so much stuff I have to get done this weekend. I feel with the streaming, it's nice because it lets me do a bunch of stuff on stream, but also I'm just sitting here like now I have 5 hours worth of stuff I have to plan for every day in addition to the normal stuff I plan for. And then there's also like still having a life, which comes on top of that. All right. Should I learn Ruby before Rails? I have a Rails interview coming up in a few days, and I have to pull off Catch Me If You Can. All right. So, hold on. Are you actively working these days? I am not. I am currently sitting in the unemployment helpline. In terms of like interview prep, I think it's going to depend on like the company, because I've definitely had like interviews before where it's just a Ruby interview. Like you sit down, you just write some Ruby code. And it's more like a Leak Code style interview, but they do it with Ruby for some reason. And then I've also seen interviews where it's like very Rails heavy. So it'll really depend on, I think, on where you're interviewing. If you're comfortable with like general software stuff, you're probably safer prepping for the Rails part. So like in my case, I'm really comfortable with algorithms and stuff because of like my professional experience outside of it and the fact that I find some sick joy out of it. So for me, I'd rather prep for like the Rails side of things. But at the end of the day, like also again, it really depends on the company. It shouldn't matter too much because they should be willing to understand that like you're not going to be super fluent in whatever their tech stack exactly is. It's just kind of hard to like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to give advice for that because it's going to completely vary depending on what you're doing and where you're like interviewing at. Why are you unemployed? Are you going to blame that on Kamal? No, this isn't Kamal related. Makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, sorry. I wish I had more to say. It's just, you know, it's always hard to give advice, and I don't want to be the guy that sits there and goes prep for one thing and then the interview comes out with something completely different. I'd say by and large, what I've seen like viewers get interviewed on, it's almost always like Rails stuff and it's not Ruby stuff. So maybe I'm just like running into all the Ruby interviews while everyone else gets the Rails interviews. But yeah, like it's that. And then there's a lot of like React stuff that happens too in the interviews. So it'll also depend on if they like use React for their front end. Maybe they ask you some React questions and then this whole conversation's irrelevant. He tried using Kamal at his job, then the FBI tracked him down and fired him. I wish. At least then I'd have a fun story. I'm surprised he's alive. He's not. This is a sort. Yeah, this is entirely an AI generated video. It's a very accurate physics representation. So like we have this bottle of water and it's not actually like the water's not actually moving. It's just predicting how the water should move. I've trained the AI on hundreds of hours of my incredibly subpar Rails tutorials, and now it knows exactly how to not write code. I'm actually the sole reason why ChatGPT's code quality has gone down, because they've just been training off of my videos. Which was an unfortunate like side effect of, oh, I don't want to delete my account. of starting to do all these Rails videos is now when I go to like look up a problem with Rails, a lot of times I run into my own resources and I'm like, oh, not this guy again. I don't want to listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Where is it? Projects? How do I get to projects? Case in point. Here we go. Okay, so here's the project, and then we come in here, settings, danger, delete. We got to do this. That gets rid of 2, and then we have to do the fly IO one as well. Can you pull apart Kamal and dive into its code? Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the Kamal gem the other day. That was actually where I found sort of how they do stuff. I was looking into the actual code base, trying to figure out like what was causing my specific build issue. Kamir's already very happy that we're even talking about this. Let me just finish deleting all of these apps real quick, which is normally a offline Dean activity. But again, I ran over budget with the time here. So we're gonna double book, which is part of the point of these streams, is so I can do this housekeeping and have an excuse to sit here and babble while I do it. Using is enough pain. No need to view its heart. Oh no, we're going to stare into the abyss. So this is the source code. I'll paste it in chat for anyone that wants to go look. Pretty simple stuff. Workflows you don't need to look at. You can always go into bin, but bin's usually going to be pretty boring. You can go into the gem files. Also going to be pretty boring. Lib is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. There's always going to be something here that's like the same name as the tool. This is pretty boring though. There's really nothing that happens in here. So you just skip that, you go into Kamal, and then this is going to be like wherever. And this is for like any gem. It's not just Kamal. It's always going to be something similar. And then you just kind of come in here and you kind of look for what you're looking for. So like in my case, I went into the commands. I went into, where is it? I went into setup, wherever that was. And then I kind of just, I looked around until I found, I think is it here? I was looking for how they did the building. And then I think in here, I realized that right here, the buildx for Docker buildx, this was where I was like, oh, it's probably running a separate container. And then if I open up my Docker, which we're also going to talk about with Docker, we're all lonely. We're here to hear you babble. Well, lucky for you that my biggest fault is that I never shut up. So you guys will get plenty of babbling. But then I went into my Docker and I realized that this container, this buildx container was actually running. And this was where I was like, oh, okay. So when it's throwing this like segment fault thing, that's happening on my machine. It's not happening on the remote. And then I went in here and then this had some logs. And then here I could see that there was like an error with whatever it was upset about. Now this is going to be a different error. This is just upset for whatever the last thing we tried to deploy was. But it was really helpful for like trying to figure out where the segmentation fault was coming from. And like, if it was a me problem or a remote server problem, because I was under the assumption, I was just like, I don't know, moving the code over there somehow. See Discord. Oh my God. That's funny. Why do we indent private methods? Don't know. I'm not really a fan of how they do private in Ruby in general. That might be an unpopular opinion maybe. But the whole like, it's almost like a private region as opposed to switch from camel to Kamal is a subtle but valuable one. You don't want the DHH wrath. Yeah. I don't know. Like consciously, I'm aware that it's Kamal, and then subconsciously, I've had to edit my videos like 20 times because I'm just sitting there going camel, 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 camel. I'm like, someone's going to catch this, because there was one video one time where I said Ubuntu instead of Ubuntu. And I got one of the meanest comments where the guy was just like, how could you possibly talk about, you don't even know what the software is called. I was like, it was an accident. I'm sorry. My mouth moved in a different way than my brain told it to. I didn't mean it. It's inspired by C++ private. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because they had like in their headers, they have that whole private region. It makes so much more sense. Don't worry, same. Yeah, okay, good. At least I'm not alone. I just know at some point that video is going to go up and people are going to be like, what is he even talking about? And I did it probably like 20 or 30 times one stream. That's really interesting. Because the I don't know, the putting the private there for like the whole region is okay, but in my head, I would just always prefer to see it in like the method. But I understand that people don't like that because it's more typing. And sure, whatever. But like when I'm scrolling through, sometimes I just get lost in the sauce. Yeah, I kind of just went through here and I was like trying to figure out where the weird behavior was coming from. And I mean, when you actually look at it, there's not that much here. Like there's the different like platforms it's building for. There might be a couple files here. But overall, if you're looking in like the commands, there's really not a lot here that you need to know. So if you want to just dig through the source code, even if you come in here like the lock, you kind of come in here and you're like, oh, there's like maybe 10 methods total. And some of them are just like the lock release, which I mean, when we come in here with the command, we do the command deploy, and then we hit like Control C to stop it. That causes the lock to persist on the server, and then you can't like go in and run another command deploy because now you have that lock and it's like locked, so you can't. It's locked, so you can. You now have that lock on the server, that lock file that says, "Don't touch this. I'm currently doing something," even though you're not. And then in that case, you just do command lock release, and that just says, "All right, now you've released the lock." Of course, I'm not in like an actual directory here. Let me cd code YouTube, or sorry, code stream Linktree Tailwind. But like you come in here and you go command lock release, and that actually releases it. And you come in here and you're like, okay, what does that actually do? Release combines RM with the lock details file, R with the lock directory. So it's just deleting it. And that's your code right there. There's really nothing weird here. Mursk was a better name in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I find Tricks quite interesting. I haven't expanded yet. Well, my problem with Tricks is it feels like a lot of people want to extend it, and that's where it feels weird to do. I've had a couple people like they have interview questions where people are asking them to extend it as part of the interview process, and whenever they have to do that and they like send me the code, I'm like, this feels like you're just hacking with JavaScript, not like there's an actual, I don't know, way to extend it here. But I don't know. I'm totally against indenting private methods, as is Rubocop, and Rubocop is king, so I just go with its narcissistic ways and don't question it. Yeah, and that's sort of where I'm at, is if I have like a formatter or something that tells me a way to do something, usually I'm going to go with it. Like on the inside, I might think, I don't care for this, but like I'm not going to fight it. Especially like if you're working somewhere and they tell you, hey, this is our style guide or whatever. I'm not going to be the guy that sits there and goes, well, why are we putting the braces on the next line instead of in the same line as the method signature? Like, I don't care. I'm getting a paycheck either way. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just keep working. But yeah, it is a little weird. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people prefer Mursk, but if I remember right, there was like a MRSK, was it like a copyright thing with Rails? Trademark claim. I don't know if this is true, but I think this is what I saw, was that there was like a trademark thing at the time. So maybe that's where the rename came from, because I don't think it was totally like optional. Oh yeah, here you go. It means guide in Arabic. Okay. I can't believe this got thumbs down. This is like a valid question. It's just asking why. Oh, and a fantastic follow-up that just completely avoids any sort of, I don't know, expansion on the issue. Okay. Let's see. What are we talking about? Not even the creator. Nobody understands Kamal. My JS looked like this when I switched from C# to JavaScript. Oh boy. Oh yeah. You got this. I think there was a meme that I posted in Maersk is a Danish company that mainly deals with shipping containers and logistics, hence why DHH chose it and then why it got changed. Gotcha. And that's also like, I understand the trademark dispute, but that also like it makes sense why this would be a better name, because that, you know, as like an homage to the shipping company, like that's a pretty good name right there. So yeah, it is a shame that got changed. But I think up here in memes, I posted this forever ago, but Yeah, here you go. So you're doing Almond in JavaScript land. That's like that'll get you in trouble. People will be upset about that. That's funny. Oh yeah, and then we have our Kamal meme that ChatGPT generated the other day. I might as well show that too. This is me every time I try and deploy with Kamal and I mess it up. C# is Almond. Yeah. I'm going to grab the Discord link real quick in case anyone wants to join the Discord server. Because I'm always told I don't promote the Discord server enough. So maybe this is your chance. You can consider it promoted. There you go. Okay. Anyways. And my restream closed. There it is. Yeah. So anyways, what the plan is for today, I think I'm going to like go through and just clean up the rest of the Linktree app, try and get that like done with so I can start actually recording for it. And then we'll see what else we want to do. So if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see, feel free to like leave it in chat and we can go from there. I'm also always open to suggestions for what to stream for like next week or whatever. I'm still trying to figure it all out. Again, this is like a pretty new format for me. So a lot of what happens here is me just like going to the other monitor and trying to figure out if I'm even like talking and people can hear me. So I'm like a little bit too distracted with that to come up with ideas. So if there's anything you want to see, then feel free to let me know. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at this and have some actual like Rails fun today. We did Next.js yesterday. That was a wild ride. Surprisingly, there was a lot less Next.js negativity in chat than I expected. Because I'm used to like the YouTube comment section where if you do anything JavaScript related, people are like, meh, JavaScript. But everyone was pretty cool about it, which I do appreciate. Because it was mostly just like, let's go see what it's like. Let's go, compare and contrast to what we do. But we did leave off with some stuff here that we have to do. I also have the to think section, which isn't a to-do. What's your fundamental philosophical outlook on life? I don't know. Actually treat people the way you want to be treated? Or I guess that's not even true. I don't treat people the way I want to be treated. Like I treat people the way that like I would have wanted to be treated when I was like in their position. I don't know if that makes sense. So like a good example is like the YouTube channel. I don't make the videos like they're aimed at a senior dev. It's more like they're aimed at people that are learning, and I try and make the video as if I was sitting in their chair learning alongside them, and like how would I appreciate being spoken to. I personally prefer it when it's relatable to me and I can see that like it is actually difficult. It's not as easy as everyone like claims it is, like with the Kamal thing. This is a good philosophical outlook on life. It's terrible. Oh my god. Any future ideas to do some Phoenix web apps? I mean, we can. Like, I can add that to the list. I think right now, people wanted to check out Laravel, and then we can also add like Phoenix to it. The only experience I have on like even that side of the planet is probably like I've made a Flask app before, which I understand isn't even close to the same thing, but that's about as close as I can like get to it. I'd love to see a Phoenix example. Yeah, I mean we can give it a try. I mean, like, people look at life from like a Christianity lens. I don't know. I have a very practical approach to it. I'm more just like treat people with respect. It's really, I don't know, it's so basic. It's not even like that deep. It's just try to be respectful, and not the way that most people are on the internet. I don't know. Try to be respectful and actually go touch grass every once in a while. There you go. That's my two-step philosophical outlook on life is don't be a jerk, and don't get into those arguments where everyone is just throwing around like sound bites for the sake of being popular. Let's see. Honest opinion, should I try to mix Rails and Svelte or just go full Svelte kick stack? That depends. What are you like? Is it for a specific project or do you just mean in general? Because in general, I'd maybe try both and see what you prefer more. But if it's for a specific project, I would probably just go with whatever you feel is more comfortable for you. Because I always try to like try both options and see what I like. Like, for example, I tried the Rails with React API. I tried just Rails with like Stimulus, and then I tried Rails with React bundled into it. Rails with React bundled into it is like, it's okay to use, but the problem I always run into with all of those things that are like just bundled into Rails, they're super easy to use until they're not. And then I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And I go look up a resource and no one covers it. In the case of like using React as an API, it's a lot easier because I can kind of abstract out the Rails stuff and just say there's an API endpoint. So if I need a tutorial, I either need a Rails tutorial on how to do the backend stuff or a React tutorial on how to do the front end stuff. The downside of that is then I need the API layer, which is just a giant pain to deal with. And then using like Stimulus, that's fine too, I guess. But again, that also has its limitations. GraphQL, well, yeah, and then there's like GraphQL, and then there's the GraphQL gem versus like, do I just set up my own thing? I think I covered the GraphQL gem once before, but I didn't get too deep into it. I think it's regularly maintained. But I also don't hear a lot about GraphQL these days, or at least it's not the thing that everyone's talking about. Of course, when it was first popping up, it was like the only thing people could talk about. Yeah, like the GraphQL wrapper at the time seemed good. It just seemed like there was a lot of stuff that I could have done with like an actual GraphQL setup, but using the gem wrapper, that always adds like an extra layer where I was like, how do I do the thing that I know how to do, but in this domain specific language thing that this tool has. I was raised as a Muslim, but not very far from that, kind of agnostic atheist. Yeah, I guess I'm in like the same boat where, I don't know. I don't pretend to have the answers. I just say, you know, either there is or there isn't someone out there who's watching me spew misinformation on the internet, and then they'll judge me appropriately. And if there's not, then I don't know. I'll still try and be a decent person because I like looking myself in the mirror at the end of the day, as opposed to sitting there and going like, oh God, I can't believe I've done this. GraphQL is only a good idea when to have a detached backend and front end and your entities are closely connected. Yeah, and for a while there when I was in school, it was like GraphQL was everything. That was right around the time, maybe a little bit disconnected, but it was around the time where every class I went into, they would say the words big data, and immediately I just sit there like, please just stop. Like I took a business management class and there was an entire module on big data and how big data is going to change the world. And I was like, dude, no one here even knows how to code. Why are we talking about how important big data is in this class? Shouldn't we be talking about like supply and demand or anything else? It was a really weird experience. When you are deploying using Kamal, have you tried praying to science? I'll be honest, when I deploy with Kamal, I just assume that I've gone against whatever God or entity there is, and that's why I'm being punished. They're like, how could you turn on the Docker Compose file? I can't believe you've done this. And that's pretty much it. Because let's be honest, there's no way this stuff fails as much as it does when I try and do it. Like the fact that there was a temporary outage, the exact time when I was doing that video on deploying to Railway, like that's a little bit more than a coincidence. It's on the table of Moses that if you use Kamal, you're going to be in trouble. That's unfortunately the way it feels sometimes. Okay, anyways, what we're going to do while we talk, we'll just try and set some of the stuff up. I'll show everyone where we left off because the app's pretty cool already if you haven't seen it. And I'm assuming that, because people just kind of pop in and out of chat, they probably haven't seen it before, so we'll at least take a look at it. So again, it's just a basic Linktree clone. It's a website where, you know, you can just go there and put some links on there so people can click on the links to check out all of your stuff, right? We got like videos up here with active storage, so you can like play your videos. Let me just turn the volume down so it's not too loud. So yeah, video, audio, etc. You can also replace this with an image, and then we also have like some links here for whatever your users want to use. So it's very similar to a regular Linktree app. but it's all written in Rails. We've gone through the whole thing here. So if you want to add another one, you can just do like, I don't know, what do we have here? Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. We could do like GitHub, and we could say this is HTTPS github.com/deanout. Create the link. It gets added with Turbo. It doesn't get added over here because it's not active yet. So then we make it active, and now it's over here. So that's all working. That happens without a refresh. What's the GitHub link to this? I will share in a minute. Linktree Tailwind, I think. Right here. Right? Yeah, over here, but then I still have to PR from here. So let me do the PR real quick to at least get this up to date. And everyone just look away when I do this PR because this branch has had some work done on it. So pretty much everything's going to change. We'll just say refresh main. Create pull request. We'll come over here, merge it, and then we should have something that people can come take a look at. And my printer's going off again. Okay, so here's the repo. There you go. If you want to go look at the code. And then we also have, over here we have the appearance page where you can update your user profile, your username, your actual name, your bio. And then like, for example, if we switch this over to PR for the weak people, push it to main and accept the consequences. Well, yeah, and that's where I'm smart, right? Because if you notice there, I PR'd all of those changes into main. And it looks like I did a PR properly, but all I really did was I just pushed to main with one extra step. Which I probably shouldn't be telling people, but here we are. So yeah, we can like switch this to just a regular profile image and it updates here and you can see it in the iframe and it's very neat. And then for our analytics, we have, what is it? Apex charts, which is tracking views on the page and then how many times the pages were clicked. Except we didn't really test this last time. So I'm just going to test it real quick and see just how bad this is. Localhost 3000/Dean. So we can come over here and we expect these views to go up, right? Which they probably won't because we have a issue with our how we're grabbing the dates. So that's something to take a look at. But we also have the ability to come over here, view your profile, update your account, and other stuff. And then the settings page, I don't really know because we've done so much extra stuff. But Linktree just kind of uses the settings page as like a cringe little place to put extra, I don't know, stuff that doesn't really feel like it belongs in a settings page. Oh, and I have to log in again. All right, one sec. Let me log in over here. Switch over here. And then assuming Linktree actually works, it tells me I have to log in with my username. This is the other thing where making a competitor sometimes is just as easy as making like the login flow and some other steps a little bit easier with less friction. Because like the friction with some of these sign-up flows can just be atrocious. But if we come over here, we can come over to settings. And then like they have the ability to add and edit social icons on the settings page. But like that's something that to me would also just be a link over here. Because they're just links or like icons. I don't know. It's really weird. And yeah, so we have like pretty much what Linktree has. It might not look as good, but it's about the same thing that they have. So if you were to actually make like some kind of competitor, which I don't know. I don't know if you would or you wouldn't. But I guess you could if you wanted to. And then this also teaches you a bunch of other stuff. But there are still some things I want to add here to make this work a little bit better. And then all of this is, of course, being deployed with everyone's favorite tool and meme of the month, which is Kamal. So if we were to spin up a DigitalOcean droplet, we could deploy this over here somewhere. I have to log in again for like the 30th time. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem recently. A bit of a side tangent here. I'm like perpetually getting logged out of every service. I don't know. It feels like it's just like one day a week where they all just decide they've removed all of their cache of stuff. It's starting to get on my nerves. I'm gonna go through here and log in every time. Okay. Anyways, New York. You're blacklisted for using Kamal. Okay. Let me come over here. Ubuntu. regular. I mean, honestly, they probably blacklisted me for just creating so many of these things, but I don't know. Linktree demo again. Create droplet. And then we'll come over to config and deploy.yaml. Let's see. Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely something there in terms of like political spectrum siding with specific technologies. I would say it's probably more like it's probably more based on, maybe it's like company based. I don't know. It does feel like there's some truth to that though. I feel like that happened to me when I was using Brave ages ago. Ooh, that could be it. Maybe it is Brave issue. Oh wait, actually, I have like 10 plus people here. Does anyone know how to make Firefox work with localhost? I've broken something at some point, and every time I try to go to localhost port 3000 in Firefox, it'll just spin indefinitely. If someone knows how to fix this, I can switch off of Brave. This is literally the only thing keeping me on Brave still. What asset pipeline config are we using in this app? I think I accidentally made it just with, I think it's just straight out of the box, like Tailwind and import maps. And we've just been like pretty much going whatever the default is with Rails. You go to settings and uninstalling. Yeah, see, I've tried to uninstall Firefox and then reinstall it, and it keeps coming back to this. I wasn't expecting you to have a take on my stupid jokes. Well, I mean, it's something that like we've all definitely thought about it at some point. Like there's definitely some kind of pattern there. I just don't know exactly what it is. But I think it with DHH specifically, I think that's more of a alignment with the book he read with is it like Musk's business biography or whatever. There's probably some takeaways he took from that. Are we moving away from import maps in Rails 8? I wouldn't count on it. I would say it's probably going to move even more towards like the import maps moving forward. And yes, it does feel like the asset pipeline changes like every other day. At one point, I don't know, they said something about like the actual asset pipeline being like, or like the old one being deprecated or something. It was I don't know. It's a whole weird situation. I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, so like if I come over here and I try and figure out like Firefox localhost not working, I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out how to get this to work. And everyone was saying like proxy settings or something. And I went through and I changed everything trying to get this to work. And I just could not figure out how to make this work anymore. And I feel like I'm going to get bullied too much if I come in here and I start using Edge in like my videos or my streams. People are probably going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you using Edge? DHH makes everyone to send uncompiled assets the world is going to burn. The thing you got to understand about a lot of DHH's approaches is a lot of them tend to be just the contrarian approach, at least from my outside perspective. If you can find a way to be the contrarian, that tends to be a favorable way to approach the problem. So if you think by and large people end up sending compiled assets, wouldn't be surprised. Why doesn't Firefox work on localhost? Seems like a stupid issue. I don't know. And I for the life of me can't figure out what caused this, because I definitely used it in a video at some point, but ever since then, I couldn't tell you. I got into the Arc Windows beta. It's a little rough right now, but I can see the vision. Not sure how to fix the localhost issue, but does the actual IP work? That's a good question. We can try various. Oh wait, this one's trying to do HTTPS. Let's try. What is it? I have to actually come over here to, let's come into here. Does he want to be contrarian for marketing? I don't know. It's been, can it be some security setting? I guess it could be. 127 port, 127.0.0.1:3000. Nope. It could be a security setting. I don't know. But again, this has frustrated me for a while. And I thought maybe this was like, it could be like a WSL thing, right? You are doomed by using Kamal. I mean, it's possible. What is it? Like, yeah. Just going to go ahead and expose myself here. So I'm looking at this one for WSL. So we'd come over here, this, and that's also not working. How long have you been in Rails land? I guess I used it for the first time back in, I'll say 2015, 2015, but it was like on and off. So probably like 4 years actually using it experience, but like 9 years of having used it at some point experience. Okay, and then in here, they were talking about this, which I also tried with the about : config, and then trying to set up, I understand, the HSTS. Right here, make the below flag true for this one. And then I went through and I tried that, and then I saw the edited message. Yeah, I tried the WSL IP. I think that's this one. Oops. I just had it. Where is it? That was this one. And this one also doesn't work. Firefox gave special treatment to localhost. When I changed my host file from project.name.localhost to project.name.devel. And yeah, I don't know. There's something broke here, which is just making this such a pain to work with. I could try this one, maybe. I guess we could try it. Just install Chrome. I don't want to go back to Chrome. Chrome is gross. We're going to try this. We're going to try to set up the, maybe change the Windows host file. See if we can get that working. Get me off Brave, finally. Okay, let me come over here. What is this? C Windows System 32. C Windows System 32. Editing the Windows host file. Windows 32. Drivers. Drivers are here, and then I'm looking for etc. I'm looking in the host file. Notepad, I guess. Okay. And then in here they want static.localhost, which is already in it's already in here. God. Of course it is. 27 static localhost. That does not solve the problem. Is there anything else on here? I guess, do I also do it on etc/hosts? All right, let's be reasonable about this. Let's see. Okay, so right here, is it static.localhost? I also have to add it here. Let's see. Yeah, so the reason why I hate, or I guess I don't care for Chrome anymore, the whole Google ecosystem continues to just, it is unreliable at best when it comes to your privacy, as opposed to whatever benefits the company, which is great if you're a YouTube creator and you want to make more money off of ads on YouTube. It's not so good if you either value your privacy or you don't want to sit there and constantly have them change how websites work with like Google AMP, or change how like their ad blocker works, and just constantly ruining everyone's experience. And in a lot of cases, it can end up in questionable performance decreases as they're trying to figure out ways to make ad blocker work, because that's their larger priority. So for example, there was a situation where they tried to make their ad blocker better, which caused YouTube to have a worse performance, even if you were a premier or a pro user or whatever. If you had YouTube Premium, you would still lag horrendously when you went to watch a video. And the initial theory was that they were punishing ad blockers and that was breaking it. But what was actually happening, they didn't mean to slow it down if you had an ad blocker installed but you were on Premium, but it was just they messed up while they were trying to set up their ad blockers and make things work. And yeah, like, you know, ad blockers work on Chrome. It's just, I think personally, Firefox is going to prioritize your security more than Chrome does. Because I think Google is fundamentally going to have a different, like, I don't know, a different priority set than Firefox is. Sorry for using, or for blocking ads on your channel. I don't care. Whatever works for you. Let's see. I'm not out here saying go watch my stuff so that you can, or go watch the ads. Like that'd be so stupid. Like if you watch them, that's great. If you don't see them because you have an ad blocker, I mean, that's fine too. Okay, so that also didn't work. And then I have to be very careful not to like flush my cache or anything else. But I really don't know what could have caused this. I guess, is it? No, because it's still, I think it's still doing like http://localhost port 3000. Allow Google to access your location. You have to stop using Chrome due to privacy issues, but you're cool with living in Microsoft land. Like I have issues with Microsoft land too, but the alternatives don't really allow you to do anything. I can go use Firefox and do everything I want to, but if I go over to Linux, how am I going to access my RuneScape account? Because they still haven't fixed their Jagex launcher. So like, you know, you take what you can get. You make the small adjustments. You're never going to win if your entire approach to life is like an absolutist solution to everything. A MacBook? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and not get one of those. I don't know. Anyways. Trying to make a website, but doesn't seem to work on Firefox. My solution was to disable force HTTPS everywhere extension. Do I have an extension like that? Let's see. Oh wait, no, this is recommendations. Okay, none of these seem like a thing. Firefox defaults to HTTPS, so you need to explicitly go to here, which I tried doing, and that still isn't working. You tried simply typing localhost. Dude, so some of these people that try to offer solutions are like, have you tried doing exactly what you said? The proper URL, everything else means that the browser must make an assumption about what you actually want to enter. Apparently keys and about :config. Okay. Yeah, but I'm again, http://. It's just, it removes the protocol. So it's not an issue of me not adding the protocol. It's just not working. I think, did you try restarting? This has been a problem for like months now. You know, I don't think there's any fixing this really. If you have access to logs, please see the logs for more. Yeah, okay. You know what? I've just given up. We're just going to deal with Brave uninstalling everything. Oh. All I saw was, yeah, I saw a bit of Michael, but that's all I saw. Oh, geez. I got one of those false copyright claims on one of my videos the other day, or the stream that we did. The music I play at the start, the stream beats, it's like this playlist right here, which is what I also use when I'm working on stuff. That music got claimed, and like it's very clearly made by Harris Heller. So if you actually go to like the Stream Beats website, there's just a form on there where he says, did you get like a false copyright claim? Then go claim it. Because it's such a problem with people trying to falsely claim these things so they can like steal some of the ad revenue, that he set up a literal Google form to deal with it. Why is it unavailable? It's copyright claimed. So color coded green, so that means go ahead and shut up about it. No, it's more like, okay, so how do I explain this? With a Mac, I'm also going to run into the gaming issues I would run into with Linux. And it's also like when my dad needs help with his Excel stuff or his Word stuff, like it's just too much extra steps for me to then go, okay, well, let me go find some way to run your stuff and figure out how to work with it. So in that case, I'd rather stick with Windows. If I can get Firefox working with localhost, then I'm like, okay, I could just go do everything else in Firefox too. It's the same thing with Brave. Like if it didn't log me out everywhere, I'd be fine with continuing to use it because it's like it does what it needs to. It's fine. And right now, like Brave is working. It's just, there are things where it's kind of a pain. Similar with Chrome. Just like you said, I'm going to go ahead and not use it. Yeah, exactly. I have Michael energy sometimes. Unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. I have to come into config and deploy.yaml and paste this in. And like, because of it, how everything's set up, we pretty much just have to come in here and change that and then change our Cloudflare. Oh, you know what? I'm willing to bet this is because I restarted my computer earlier. I think it probably, like, that caused it to finally say, you're past your 30 days since your last login. Don't tell IT. I know it's like a fun meme with people to not like restart your computers until it's been like a month and a half. Why'd you leave your job? How long have you been unemployed? Well, okay, so I left. I did some freelance work for like 2 years or so. And now I just want to get back into like an actual office job again, just because I miss doing actual like development and having to problem solve with other people involved as opposed to just dealing with customers. So it's not like I'm not unemployed. Like I still make money. It's just I would prefer to go back to like an office job. I don't know. It's also why I'm not stressing out about it too much. Freelancing through any platform. Well, it's more just I know people and then people talk. And a lot of it was just like you could make a lot of money if you set up like WordPress websites for people. Like a stupid amount of money. Tax authorities didn't like that. Well, I mean, you hopefully still do your taxes properly. But I've also been led to believe that there's a lot of people that don't do that properly. Some of which might be making a considerable amount of money. Anyways, we can come all set up now. This will set it all up and send it up there. Here in Costa Rica, it's literally impossible to survive with freelancing. Yeah, and to be fair, it is very possible to, it is very hard, it's very difficult to do the freelancing thing for a lot of people. You have to remember when I say I do it, like think about how many more connections I have than the average developer. Let's be honest. That's not like bragging. That's just a factual statement. So if you're looking to go do your freelancing, consider like, do you have the time and energy to go through and actually go communicate with people and say, hey, I'm willing to make a website for you and deal with the fact that you're going to get rejected, or you're going to have like customers you just don't want to deal with that are going to be difficult. They're going to have unreasonable demands, and the fact that you have to, do the business side of things. And then you also have to think like, how many people do I know? And a lot of people don't know that many people. How did you get that many connections? Well, it started in school. There's also the people that I met because like my dad runs through the business world. And as he does that, he's constantly saying, my son does this, my son does this, my son does this. Which also helps. So like my first client when I was freelancing was someone that my dad knew who worked in consulting, and he needed a website set up for his consulting business. And of course, the first thing he did was he came to me because he knew my dad. So it's like, if you don't have connections like that where you can rely on them, it would be irresponsible of me to say go freelance, because it's a difficult way to go about it. Now, if you have a YouTube channel with 17,000 subscribers or whatever the number's at, and you got a dad that knows enough people that are willing to spend money on a very poorly created website, then it gets a lot easier to do that type of thing. So I always feel bad because, I say that and I'm like, but there's probably going to be some guy who's watching this who's like, I'm going to go and freelance. And it's like, okay, but just be aware that it's a lot harder than just, I'm going to wake up and work on a website every day to make money. It's like, you need to go out and find the person that you're making that website for, which you can like, you can go to like Upstart, I think. Is it Upstart? No. What's the place? It's not Fiverr. It's the other one. Fiverr versus Upwork. That's what it is. You can go to like Upwork, which lets you set up a profile where people, instead of Fiverr, where it's like project based, here it would be like, you agree to work certain numbers of hours with people. can you ask your dad, and the next time that he meets someone, he says, there is that guy on my son's Twitch stream who's also a software engineer. Yeah, well, yeah, and that's like unironically what he'll do. If I'm talking to him about someone that I know who's like unemployed, he'll be like, well, what profession's he in? I'm like, oh, he's like an electrical engineer. And he's like, oh, no, hold on, I know a guy. And then that's just how that works. That's what comes with experience, is when you know a guy. You know, that's a very powerful statement sometimes. And you just have like your friends send the resume over. But yeah, if you go to like Upwork, you can then like post yourself as like a profile, and then people can find you, and then they could like try and negotiate with you, which is one way to get started. But again, there you're like, that's like saying, oh, if you want to stream on Twitch or you want to make YouTube content, just go make a YouTube or Twitch account, and then people will just go find you. Like, there's more to that than just, it's not that easy and that actionable, right? Like, there is a lot that goes into making all of this work. Do you know where Pakistan is? Yeah, hold on. It's too late. Oh, it's funny. I was originally I know because of MG5. Oh geez. I made devlogs in case you want to watch them. Yeah, I mean, if you have some, I'd be happy to watch them. I'm always happy to see more stuff. But again, like a lot of it just boils down to kind of cringe, but in case you want, I can share the link. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and share it. You're always going to feel like your own stuff is cringe. I think other people are going to have like a different opinion on it. Like, if I look at my original content and even some of the stuff I do now, I still think it's bad. But I think as long as you're capable of looking at your own work and saying this is cringe, that means that you're able to identify ways that it could be better, which means you still have room for improvement for what it's worth. Now, whether or not you can actually like implement that improvement's a different story. Only proud of this video. Oh, you went like full devlog. Okay, so unironically, this is like a type of video I've wanted to make before. I really like the it's like the what is it? Almost like the Peter McKinnon, where he like walks into the room, he turns on the light, and then he like starts recording, and the light causes the screen to actually light up, and that's where the video starts. Just like a very, I don't know, like a directed type of video, where I've wanted to do something like that before.
Hello guys.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. That's exactly who it is. It's which I don't know why he stopped uploading. That's crazy to me, because his channel just like blew up. But if you ever watched a Devin Crawford type of video where it's like a cinematic developer log, it's such a cool type of video to watch, where you feel like there's a story being told, and you're super invested in it, even if you don't care about what language he's using or what he's doing. Because like one of the first videos I ever saw from him, it was like what was it? It was his 3 years of computer science in 8 minutes, which of course is like his most popular video. But I saw that and immediately I went through all his videos. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of video I would like to make, I guess.
My degree has been finished, okay? So now I've been looking for a job, and I want to do some side projects that I couldn't do while I was in university, partly because of time.
Well, that's also okay. That's also a very good point. Like, when you're in university, I think it is very difficult to come out of class after, you know, a 6 or an 8 hour day, and then you go, oh, now I got to do another 6 hours worth of work on a side project. Like, that is, you're sitting there, and there were days when I was like working on the YouTube channel, for example, when I was like towards the tail end of my college degree, where I'd go to class, I'd have to do my studying, and then it'd be like 12, right? 12 at night, so midnight. And I go, okay, I could probably figure out how to make a video work here. So I'd start working on the video idea, it'd be like 2. Then I'd start recording, it'd be 3. I'd start editing, it'd be like 6. And I'm like, okay, if I sleep for like 90 minutes, I can get enough sleep in to be able to wake up, take a shower, and go to class. And then I can sleep after I get back from class because it's like a Friday or something. That's not a good way to avoid burnout. And like, so I can definitely appreciate the whole, the idea that like you're done with university. You're like, okay, now I could actually focus on side projects. Cause I had that exact same mentality when I graduated. I was like, oh my God, I have so much free time now where I don't have to do that.
Partially because
of course, like you still have to go work.
First of all, I want to create my own personal website. I don't know what I'm going to use. Okay, how I'm going to design my website. What's going to be on the back end.
Burned out since 2 years ago. Yeah, that's
so before I
very real though.
Go on and create a design for my website, I should first define what my website should include. Like what are the things that should be included in my website.
Oh, so you actually go through and you actually plan. See, we have like different approaches to this. You've probably seen how I did the Linktree demo, where you sit down and make a text document of what you want to do. I just sit down and I go, okay, time to start coding. And then I figure it out as I go through it, which is a very, very not ideal solution. But again, it's like different for, I guess, personal projects for me and for professional projects, I guess. Because I don't know, for me, that the personal stuff is like, that's my outlet where I get to avoid all of the stuff that all the normal, like, red tape that I have to go through. I can just go, I'm free. I can just go code absolute nonsense. That was my first time before I got my first job. Okay, gotcha.
This is what I'm planning to build. It's just
hey, Gwynner, how are you doing?
Or maybe 0.1 version.
We're looking at Syed's Pride and Joy video right now.
Just a rough layout.
So I think right now he was planning out his portfolio project.
Post my photo over here, and then we go to projects.
This does actually, like, unironically remind me. What was it? I think 2 or 3 days ago on stream where I drew a very rough dialogue or very rough mock-up of what I wanted the website to look like in Paint, and it was just scribbled. What would you rate this video? So here's, okay, from like a content creator perspective. Okay, let me think. Let me try and give you some honest feedback. So give me a minute to like consider what I've seen so far. I think the title of the video could, how do I put this? When you make a video like this, you try to no issues. My friends already roast me enough. Be brutal. Well, okay, so I'm not going to be brutal. I'm going to try and give you what I think of when I look at the content. So from the perspective of the title, I've tried making videos like this before, where I say I'm personally working on something, and usually the reason why I do that is because I'm trying to emulate what I have seen be successful for other people. So people upload a video where they say working on my portfolio, or they say working on my personal project, I made a video editor or something. And what I've personally found is that I care because that other person, like I already know who that other person is. When I make these videos though, nobody cares that I made this thing. So when I say building my own personal portfolio website, to me, that's not something that like connects to the regular viewer. They're thinking, okay, but why do I care? Like, why do I as the viewer care? So like the title might need to be reworded a bit to, I guess, have more of a hook for like the type of audience you're trying to cultivate. So maybe like, I don't know, instead of building my own personal portfolio, you might say something like, I don't know, like three problems I ran into making my personal portfolio, or something like that, where it's like, oh, that's something where I've tried to make my own portfolio and there's problems. I could watch this and then see like what issues I ran into from the perspective of a vlog is like the first one. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that, but it's just like, this to me feels like it's It's more about you than what the viewer wants to see, which works for other people, but I feel like it's unfair because it works for them because they're established already in a lot of cases. And that's where a lot of vlogging runs into problems, I think, these days, because you want to make it similar to how everyone else did it, but they got away with it in a time where either it was easier to get away with this type of content, or it was they were already someone where people were invested. So they could post that and their viewers would still watch it, and that would cause it to be recommended to similar profiles to those viewers on YouTube. I care about what you say and I like your positive outlook on the world, but I find Tailwind to be hype and Bulma rocks. Well, again, I'm not like emotionally attached to Tailwind. I started using it or I started learning it earlier this week, I guess, or last week maybe. I don't know. But it's been like 2 weeks. I think I should still go and learn Bulma and see like what it has to say. But as for like you caring, it's very difficult to make those types of videos and connect with people, especially when you're first starting out. I think once you have like a slightly larger audience, it gets a little bit easier. Like the first one where I tried that, it was like when I did Ruby for Good. I titled the video something like I'm taking part in Ruby for Good or whatever. And at the time, I'd say my videos probably averaged like 200 to 300 views. That one got like 150 maybe when I uploaded it. And I was like, okay, that's still pretty good. But I could clearly see that like even there, like charity event, I took part in it. It was like a 3-minute video. Like all you really had to do was click on it, watch it for 5 seconds, and then leave. I could see that the performance on that one was a lot worse than the other videos. So I was like, okay, there's something there, but like I'm still getting hammered in some way. So that's like the first thing that pops into my head is like, how does the title appeal to people? Have you considered vlogging? It's really hard to edit, can easily take up a day. Well, yeah, and that's where like that's another thing I run into is with my schedule currently. I'm already so backed up trying to do all of these things right now. I have to get better at like budgeting my time for the videos and the streaming and figuring out how I'm even going to do shorts on top of all of that. So I still have to figure that out. So doing like a heavier edit would be an absolute nightmare. Because right now, I don't know, if people want to watch, I can edit a video on stream, but you can see my editing process is very minimal. It's like, it's just open the file, cut it up because it's a tutorial. There's nothing really fancy there. And then I have like a set way that I set up like the lower thirds or the chirons, and then like the audio I set to a specific level, and I have it all mathed out so that I don't have to go through and like figure out where to position it because I already know what numbers I used the last time. You had a family, right? I think that also takes up a lot of time. Well, yeah, and that's another thing is when you're trying to do these things, like you only get so much time with people, so you want to ideally you want to spend as much time as possible with those people during the day when everyone's awake, and then at night you work on all of these other things. So you also don't want this stuff to, completely consume you. Like that whole, what is it, the pyramid of needs, where you either get sleep, you get social life, or you get success. Don't be one of those people that only picks two because you're aiming specifically on like one of the corners or one of the sides of the triangle. You want to aim somewhere towards the middle, I guess is my advice there. So anyways, but the title is the first thing, right? The description, I think this is fine. There's a lot of stuff in here that would probably get picked up somewhere. I would make sure if you do use audio that you actually have the rights to it. A lot of times I run into stuff like when I tried using SoundCloud and stuff, they'll say that they have the rights to it, but they don't. So I would be careful with that. Yeah, you want to be careful there because that one can screw yourself down the road by at first being a little bit lax there. This actually happened to one of my friends. He made a bunch of he started doing programming tutorials. The tutorials saw success, but he would use like a lo-fi girl type audio at the start of his stream, and it was something where the video he would play in the background for that audio said that you would have rights to use it. But he didn't realize that the person who said that was just making it up in the video section. And that's similar. Like if you're working on a website, make sure you have the rights to the stuff that you use. So go to like Use Unsplash for your images so that you know it's been posted to this website. That it's clear to use, right? Don't go to Google and just Epidemic Sound. Don't go to Google and be like, I don't know, let's see, like Linktree logo. Don't go here and just click on like, I don't know, this thing right here and just say, all right, this is mine now. Like that can get you into trouble too. So it's not just YouTube advice. It's like general design advice to make sure you actually have, like right here, you see the little text that everyone ignores. Images may be subject to copyright. That can cause you a lot of headaches. But yeah, so that's like, title, description. Any of the other SEO stuff, I think is completely overblown, like out of proportion. It doesn't matter on YouTube. Like people talk about tags, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Like the way that they talk about optimizing their content, and a lot don't watch like how to grow your YouTube channel videos. Pretty much all of them are it's just some guy who's trying to be the guy that finds the next trick that everyone talks about and parrots for weeks on end. The only place that you would really want to like actually check would be the creator insider account on YouTube. So like if you're sitting there and you want to do programming tutorials or something and you want to figure out like, how do I make the programming tutorial seen by people? This is like the channel you want to go to, because it's literally inside YouTube people talking about how YouTube works. It's not some dude who is, paraphrasing his anecdotal experience. It's like, this is a product manager. They work on Google on the growth recommendation system. And they're telling you that if you upload a bad video, it doesn't hurt your channel, which just throws out all of that stuff about deleting videos that underperform. That's why I still have my WordPress video on my channel. So I would focus on that as well. The other thing is, I think the audio balance probably could use some work, because it sounds like the music is at a higher level than the like vocal audio. And what you usually want to do is have the vocal audio above the music. So like if I open up Premiere real quick and potentially crash my computer, I'm from Pakistan, so we don't care about piracy. Piracy is the way. Yeah, well, unfortunately YouTube does. And it's like three strikes and you're out, I think. And they'll just straight up ban your account, which is another thing. You want to be careful. You want to be careful with which like email you're using, because I've seen people like they got their accounts banned. One sec. They got their accounts banned because they had like a playlist that was, the playlist had like a bunch of stuff in it that they shouldn't have had. Their YouTube account got banned because of that, which affected their Gmail account, which caused them to not be able to log into any other services. So if you are going to do something like this, make sure you have like a distinct email that you're using for this stuff, so that you don't like get yourself locked out of like, I don't know, your DigitalOcean account, for example, because like Gmail just decided to kick you off. So there's like a lot to consider when you start to do this kind of thing. Do you understand what I'm saying in this video, like with the audio levels? Okay, so I understand what I can understand you. You're speaking good English. I think the issue is more the audio levels. If you were to bump up your own voice, like normalize it and compress it, I think you would probably get something that sounds a little bit more clear than what you have. So like if I come in here, I open up the Kamal video for Godot, and then this one is upset. Can I just do it offline all? Yes. If I come in here, I'll be able to show you what I have my audio levels set to, where I think the music doesn't overpower the voice. Well, it turns out everything is Kamal related right now. And unfortunately, that's what people are watching is the Kamal videos. Because of course, like that's the hard part, right? Deploying. So if you have a way that allegedly lets you deploy more easily, then of course people are going to be all over that. But if we come over here, you can see I have this audio right here, which is the music track, right? The music track is set to minus 30 dB, which causes it to be like very subtle in the background. And then what you ideally want to do is keep this at a low level while you have your vocal audio at a point where it's been normalized, it's been compressed. So it's always at like a pretty even line across the top, where it's almost at the peak, but you're not peaking the entire way, so that you don't have to worry about like increasing it artificially, because the last thing you want to do is come in here and like bump this up, because that's going to cause it to peak, which is going to like cut off parts of what you're saying, which is again similar if you're doing like a podcast or something. But that's, you know, that's a skill that you have to learn. Like I didn't have good audio levels until I got a comment from someone who's like, hey, I'm a sound engineer. This sounds terrible. You should go through and fix your audio. And then it took me probably like a month worth of uploading videos with feedback from this person before they were like, okay, no, it sounds good now. So I think the biggest thing is going to be like, you know, balance the audio more. And then that alone will help a lot, because that causes people to stick around more. They listen more. And then the other thing is like, ask yourself, you have to be pretty aggressive with it. Like, how much do I cut out of this to keep like the pace of the video going? That's a skill in and of itself, because there's like this idea of retention editing in YouTube, which can be really annoying. It's like the Mr. Beast type of stuff where they're just constantly doing cuts and edits to keep people's attention and stuff. You don't have to be as aggressive as he is, because you're still trying to make content that's a little bit more educational and serves a purpose than just, hey guys, welcome to my video. Today we're going to be eating 1,000 Lamborghinis or something. Have you connected your mic directly into the PC, or is there some vice between the PC and the mic? So I have, in this case, I have like a Rodecaster thing, and I use a XLR microphone. So I have like a specific cable that sits right here, and I have to like run it across and around to the Rodecaster, and then from the Rodecaster it has to go to the computer. But I've also used like a Blue Yeti before, which is just a USB microphone. And I don't personally think that the initial growth of your channel or whatever you're doing is really going to matter that much, as long as you have something to say. I think that's always going to overpower any sort of like equipment advantage you have, with like the caveat that if you aren't properly balancing, that can hurt you. What does the Rodecaster do? Rodecaster Pro 2, I think is what it's called. So it looks like this. It looks like this. It's basically made for like podcasting, so you can like plug in multiple microphones when you're interviewing someone for like a podcast, and then you can like balance the audio. It does look a bit like a DJ, and there's like there's buttons for like a soundboard on here. Like if I open up my app for the Rodecaster, I do this in Discord a lot, and that's why a lot of these are just like random sounds. But like I can play any of these. I think, and it like plays the audio through there, which when I press the button lights up, and then whatever's here gets played through this. So like if I come in here and I have to figure out a way to play this so you guys can actually hear it. Let me see. Because this should be playing, but I think the playback isn't happening. Oh wait, is it desktop? Oh wait, no, I have to listen to the device to do it. But yeah, it's like I have the brush sound effect. So I can play that, and then depending on how I'm recording, I can then hear that, or you know, people in my Discord call can hear that, and then they can yell at me to stop being a soundboard. And like one of the things I started doing was I would like record people in my Discord call, and then I would put their audio in here, like this one, and then I would play back sounds of them speaking. Because I'm a 12-year-old who has way too many toys. I don't think you need this to start like making YouTube videos or streaming. This is just something where like it's a silly thing that I happen to have at this point. But at one point I thought, oh, maybe I'll do like a podcast for like the Rails stuff. And that's where I ended up getting this. It wasn't worth it. Apparently now it's even less worth it because it's gone up to $700. That's crazy. Don't spend $700 on this thing. Like, good Lord. But I do think if you have like a Blue Yeti or something, these are probably like, this is definitely good enough. And I gave my old Blue Yeti to my sister, and she uses it for what she does, and it seems to work just fine too. But yeah, this probably isn't that big of an issue. My salary is like 800 USD. Even if your salary was like 8,000 USD, $700 for a podcast mixer is crazy. But yeah, like I wouldn't spend money on it. I would say you can reasonably see success without doing that. And on that note, I would also say that while developer vlogs are a good thing to do, but you're gonna see like consistent growth if you do some kind of like educational video. The hard part, which is what I'm running into, is then branching out of that niche. But if you use that initial niche, you'll consistently grow because people need tech advice. And not like, I don't know, here's how you can learn how to program. Go to Google, search, learn how to program. Like if you can solve problems for people, that you'll always see demand for that. There's 5 or 6 people now that I've helped start a YouTube channel where it's just like, oh, like one of my friends knows how to program with Godot. And I'm like, dude, just go make YouTube videos on this. Why aren't you doing this? And then he started making them. And now he's got a channel roughly the size of mine where he just talks about Godot and he makes Godot tutorials. And like, depending on where your market is, like, you're not going to be making a ton of money off of this, but let's say for like the Rails stuff, I'd say probably like 50,000 views a month, which might sound like a lot, but I don't think it really is. That's probably like a decent center line for this stuff. 50,000 views a month will equate to, we can actually do the math real quick. It's going to be 50,000 divided by 1,000, which is just the way that they calculate how much you earn, which is $50. And then it's your CPM, which is how much you make per 1,000 views. So if you have about 50,000 views a month and you make about a $4 CPM talking about tech, you're going to be making about $200 off of your YouTube channel, which even for Rails, I feel like that's a pretty approachable number. And you can probably see, like if I come over here and then I come into my channel, you can see that that's about where it even projects my channel to be, which I think right now it's at like 63,000. Which is mostly because of like a break over the winter, but it's usually going to be around there. And then from there, you branch out more and then you broaden it. I think that's probably a better approach than trying to do like vlogs and stuff. How many convert from video to your site versus video to sign up or purchase? It depends what I'm talking about. So I don't know if I can show this. I could probably show it. Let me pull up the affiliate link numbers for DigitalOcean. Well, I mean, we can also look at, so I don't personally plug Linktree anywhere, I think. It just sits in like the video descriptions and my bios. So you can look here, and this is over the course of, I don't know how long, but just from sitting in like my bio, it's usually a couple hundred clicks per link on the Linktree link. And all this is just like, if we look at one of my actual videos, if we come over to my video, let's see, over here, I'll click on not the live stream because I don't want to give us a feedback loop, but I'll come into here, key, and just, nope, I'll mute it because I don't want to listen to myself. Where is it? It's right here. So this is pretty far down. You have to go in here and specifically find this. And I would say I'm probably seeing like 50 to 100 visits on my Linktree per day, if I had to guess, across my videos. And then there's like the referral links from DigitalOcean. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to have to edit this, but I can probably tell you. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of these other numbers real quick. There we go. This is how many people have clicked on my DigitalOcean referral link, and this is how many people have actually signed up using my link. From just me doing the couple deploying with DigitalOcean videos that I've done, which at this point, this pays for my my WordPress server. Like usually my estimated cost sits at 0 because it's paid for by the video. Do you live with your parents? Yes, I still live at home. I come from I come from a family where that's the norm, is to live at home until you're married and move out. So it's more of a European family living in America than anything else. But of course that also comes with not being a leech off of your family, actually contributing. Same here in South Asia. South Asia, yeah. I feel like that's the norm in quite a few parts of the world. But you know, it's just nice because instead of being alone all the time, you get to go talk to your family. You get to see them more. But yeah, like your signups, it's going to vary depending on what you do. Where are you from? Germany. But yeah, like if I have a very specific video with a specific call to action, I would say sometimes it's like 5 to 10% conversion if I put it in like the pinned comment. For like a specific tutorial. Now, the viewership is lower for that because it's a specific tutorial, but it does seem to convert at a pretty high rate compared to like what you would see in other places. And it's similar with like with TikTok if you use it. Guten Abend, danke. Yeah, the running joke with my family is that like you're from Germany? Yeah, I'm my mother's side is German, my father's side is American, and my dad met my mom in Germany, and then I'm a dual citizen. So I could run for president and hate my life, but I can also choose to not do that, which is what I usually do if like the US is making questionable decisions. I'll just sit there and I'll be like, I'm German this week. And then I activate my German citizenship. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be German this week. These Americans, am I right? Meanwhile, I'm over here like, I got a bag of, this is such an American, I don't even think can I find this? What is it? It was like Oreo popcorn. They had this at the store the other day. Yeah, here we go. It's popcorn covered in Oreos, which if that's not like the most just weirdly American thing you can find, I don't know what is. But I'm sitting here, I was like, oh, I'm going to buy one of these, and then, tried it. Yeah, it wouldn't really recommend it, but I'm sitting here like, I'm German this week. Meanwhile, I pop open a bag of Oreo popcorn. I'm like, I wonder what this tastes like. And down the inside, I'm like, this is not a German activity right now. Where in Germany? So I was born over, or my family's from oh wait, I want to go over to maps. Wiesbaden right here. Yeah. Can you speak German? I can speak German, but the running meme is that I can't. Because ever since I was like 2, 3, my dad would speak German with my family, and I would always make fun of his German because of course Americans speaking German. And then like my family tried to get me to speak German, and I would always be like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to sound bad like my dad. So I would always make fun of my dad for that. Where do you want? Let me see. Marburg. Directions. Marburg, Germany. That is a 116 kilometer. So like hour 20 maybe. But yeah, now I'm over here. I'm actually close to where RailsConf is taking place. I think they said, what was it? RailsConf is happening in Detroit. Everyone knows I live near Detroit. I'm over in Michigan. There's a lot of people that are over here. Yeah, they're doing it May 7th to the 9th. We'll be going to Toronto. I was thinking about it, but I don't think I'm going to be going right now. I have other things that I need to take care of. It's going to be a year of productivity for me and doing other stuff, unfortunately. It does cut into the bottom line of, I also need to fix, this is bothering me, how big this is. I need to go and, I don't know, deal with some stuff. Well, okay, so like on the note of doxing, I don't know if you guys know this, but I voted in an election at some point, and then I had to make multiple requests to multiple websites to have my address and my name with my phone number pulled from those websites because they were listing all of that information. It's wild that they can just pull that stuff from the internet. I'm trying very hard to be advertiser friendly right now, that they can pull this from the internet and throw it on some website and then just go, ta-da, I just doxed an entire county. So like, yeah, I can open up a map, but you could probably also just go find your favorite YouTubers like voting precinct and just dox them that way. In Costa Rica, your ID is public. Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. Like different countries, you're also going to be kind of in trouble. How do people get the voting info? Apparently, you can just request it. I had no idea this was a thing, that you could just like put in a request to the county and then they'll just give you the info and then you could go post it online. It was crazy to me that was the thing. So now I went through for my whole family and I like looked them all up and looked up their voting records and I was like, what, this is really, it's this easy? So I had to go through and like, okay, well, I just put in my dad's info. Let's request a takedown. Put in my mom's info. Let's request a takedown in the info. And now, like, if you look up my name, you find like my address from 10 years ago. And I'm like, you know what? I'll leave that. They can go figure that out and go to the wrong house. If we ever go back to to Germany or stay in the US, I mean, I'll probably stay in the US in terms of living, but I'd probably go visit Germany again. For example, if you're married, you can even ask for your wife's private info, like medical history. That's crazy. Or bank states, yeah. Well, again, every country is going to have like different privacy laws. You had to choose between the U.S. and Germany. Which one did you choose? This is going to sound like what, you can pull people's voting info in the U.S. Yeah, one second, let me find it. Address county. Let me see if I can find the website. What was it? Okay, hold on. Voting. This one? No. In Norway, it's secret election. That is not good. Yeah, it again, I had no idea this was a thing. And I don't know, it could just be like the counties near me that for some reason they've decided that this was a decision they wanted to make. Let me see. Where is it? Of course, it's going to be harder for me to find the website now that I've requested my information be removed to the website. I love how we derailed Dean from fixing his Firefox issue. I think even the Firefox issue was me being derailed from something. It was probably the Tailwind thing was what I originally set out to do. Yeah, because it was like you can look up the registration, and then people found the registration. They made a request to the local county's office. They got the information from there, and then they put my phone number, my address, and a bunch of other info on their website. And I was just sitting there like, how is this legal? Okay. Order. Yeah. I don't need this. Where is it? I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna complain about it. Because it's wild that this is a thing that exists. Here. Yes, all voter registration records are public documents and are available for public inspection during normal business hours in Michigan. Which seems like, especially in such a polarized political climate, like that could be problematic in and of itself. People don't make the most friendly of decisions these days. Wild is an understatement. Yeah, seriously. Look that website and type any name with some last name. Let me see. So this is for, you said this was for the Costa Rica public info? Huh. Yeah, there's just like a lookup table. That feels like that would be concerning. Very problematic. You can lose your job. Yeah, exactly. Like if you... dude, there's companies where you'd even let it slip which way you vote, and you're you're going to be in trouble. Let me see. Type Carlos Alvarado. Oh, wait, what? Oh. Oh, yeah, look at this. You can just look up anything. That's crazy. Well, yeah, and then like imagine, you know, even setting aside like the business stuff, just the fact that you can look up that information. You got like stalkers and all that other, all the other concerns you have to make. There's definitely a lot there where I feel like it, and it's bothered me for this has been like 3 or 4 years now since I found out about that. But like the next time I went to vote, that was a serious thing that I thought to myself. I was like, if I vote again, am I going to have to request my information be taken down again? And then also, like, is it just this website? So then I must have spent like 2 or 3 weeks. I would go to Google every day and I just type different permutations of my name and my address and my numbers and all this other stuff and try and figure out, like, is it listed somewhere? Will DHH go to RailsConf? I doubt it, because now that they have, was it Rails World or whatever? I feel like that's a direct, like, that's his version of it now, and he's like, that's good enough. I'm just going to do that. I think you'll see other people at RailsConf. I think, what was it? I think Colin said he's going. I think Jason said he's going. Who else? There was a couple people on Twitter that were talking about going. So if you end up going, you'll probably see some people. At least at RailsConf. I don't know about like what all the other things that are happening. That was for the Detroit RailsConf, I guess I should say. But yeah, there's probably a Chris and Marco Roth are going. Oh, let's go. Have you ever been to RailsConf? I have not. I went to look it up and I looked at the price and I was like, okay, never mind. Yeah, that's AnyConf. I've been to a couple, not like Rails related though. I've never been to a Rails related RailsConf. I've never been to a Rails conference before. Let me see. No, wait. Where is it? Get your tickets. What's the purpose of the conf? What does a person get from attending? It's going to be a combination of like networking and just listening to people that you think are authorities in the field that are just giving a talk on something. And what you'll often find is those talks end up being uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, like depending on where you live, this probably seems like quite the sum of money. Yeah. It's, can you land a job there? I guess if you meet the right people, maybe. But a lot of them are really just there for the sake of like, you know, learning industry practices through osmosis, I guess is a good way to put it. You just show up, you talk to some people, and then you go, okay, well, these people all seem to do this thing. Maybe I should do it like this too. Is mostly why you go there. But then that's also why a lot of the conferences you go to end up being like businesses send you there as part of their like employee improvement efforts. Oh, I'm getting alerted that I've logged into my own Linktree like an hour after I logged into it. Fantastic. But yeah, this is, and then again, you have to also consider that this is the price for a ticket. This is not the price to go here. So like you would have to fly here. You'd have to find a place to stay. That is also something to consider if you ever decide to go to something like this. I have a business idea. You start getting clients and give it to developers in Pakistan for more money. There's unironically someone from school messaged me a while ago. He's like, Do you think it would make sense if you just funneled your viewers to me for their development needs, and then I would just get cheap labor in India, and I would just undercut what I'm paying them, and we could pocket the rest? And I'm just sitting there like, dude, that sounds like I'm just taking advantage of people, but we've just put such a nice wrapper on it. Yeah, let me go get a better developer to do my job for me, and then I'll pay them a fraction of what I'm pocketing. Okay, sure, why not? This is a Vercel business model. That's terrible. Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on in the world. You do have to. It gets really hard, and that was a lesson I had to learn. There's some here that hire Indian or Sri Lankan programmers to do stuff. Yeah, and like I know it's a normal, or I don't want to say normal. I know it's a business model some people do. They've even spun it as right shoring. Well, yeah, and like my friend was painting it as, because he's from India, he's helping people in India find work. And I'm like, yes, that's true, but it's the Vercel model again of we'll use the free open source database and then charge you $1 per gigabyte of storage or whatever, or $1 per like use of this software, even though we're technically getting it for free, where you're just adding a little bit of markup on top, and you do that across the board, and it's like, okay. But here it's like the Vercel model where it was like a 90 to a 95% markup, and then that's where it's like, well, you're just taking advantage of someone else. You have a US guy pretending to be an engineer while the actual guy in Pakistan is doing the work. They operate on a shadow profile. Yeah, there's I've seen a couple stories about that where people are like, they've effectively offshored their entire workload. And it's not even like they're sitting there double employed. They're like fractionally employed. They just show up for their meetings occasionally. My experience has been that there's been a big culture difference where Norwegians are more self-going and others need really fine detailed instructions. Yeah, I've heard things like that it really depends on like the culture of where the developer like learned and worked and stuff. Yeah, just for the meetings you hate it. Yeah. Yeah, because at that point, just hire the guy who's doing all the work. You don't need the guy who's just showing up to the meetings occasionally. But then again, that's why they don't actively tell you that they're offshoring their jobs. There was an article a few years ago of a guy that has offshored his job to Asia and would literally send them the hardware key to auth as him. He didn't work for like 3 years, 6-figure job. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a couple of those where like it's literally they've just offshored their job and they're outsourcing their own work, and then they just show up to the meetings, they get like a summary, and then you go from there. But man, if that doesn't ruin it for the rest of us working remotely, I don't know what will. Let's do it, Dean. 50-50. Again, that violates one of my life philosophies of being able to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day, not hate myself. Oh, geez. Oh, wait, this actually deployed, right? It didn't. Okay. I don't know why I'm surprised at this point. Don't look in the mirror. I've been tempted to hire people in Fiverr to do difficult tasks. So has anyone here used Fiverr before? Because I have, and I have mixed feelings about Fiverr. It is a very good way to get work done for cheap, but the quality of the work that gets done is very much what you paid for it. Which is, it's not a reflection necessarily on the Fiverr people's skill sets. But yeah, like it does feel like Upwork is where you go for professional assistance, and Fiverr is where you go to get like a good deal on the assistance, if that makes sense. Any tips on how to land jobs on Upwork? I would probably say just, again, it's going to be like your actual network outside of it that matters, and then you just funnel traffic to the page. I personally haven't used like Upwork before. It's one of the benefits of just like knowing enough people is I don't have to go through that. But I think you're probably going to be pretty good if you're in like the software space, because there's a limited supply of software developers that are doing Upwork stuff. So maybe that helps. I was more remote friendly here during COVID. I always wanted it. But now it's going back. My company tried 1 month ago to introduce really restricted work from home. Just one day it backfired really. They stopped it now and they're overthinking it, still waiting. So that happened at my company. They were trying to push for like return to office. And then like after a while, we found out that the real push for return to office happened because, not entirely, but some of the leadership team wasn't even aware of the fact that we could share our screens when we worked on software together. So I don't know how they thought we were doing software work for that like year where we worked remotely. But sometimes it's not from what's that rule? Don't attribute it to malice. What can be attributed to like incompetence or whatever. Sometimes it's not from a place of malice. It's just literally they don't understand how it works. So the way that we ended up doing the convincing was the president jumped into a call on like our team calling software. And then they watch Dean work. And I just shared my screen and I was talking through our problem. And he stopped halfway through and he's like, oh, so yeah, it's like you just walked over to someone's desk, but like you don't have to actually go walk over to the desk. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that. And he's like, well, this is totally different than what I pictured. I didn't even think you guys were like looking at each other's work. And I'm like, dude, how do you think we got anything done? And then they were like, oh yeah, no, remote work's fine. But again, it's going to vary case by case. Have you ever experienced someone hired remotely from South Asia? I'm looking to land a U.S. or foreign company job. This one's paying peanuts. Okay, so specifically from your area, I can't say that I have at least I can't recall something, but I've seen like I got DMs from people that were looking for Rails jobs, and they were in Venezuela at the time, and they went through the entire interview process. They got hired remotely from like a New York company. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like give away their personal details. But my understanding is they went from the medical profession to software development. And when they were going through the interview process before they got hired, they said that it was a order of magnitude increase to their salary. So, that seems, I've seen it from, places where the living conditions aren't the same as the US and they tend to be paid somewhat competitively. I don't think they're making like a Silicon Valley salary, but maybe they're going from like 600 a month to 2,000 or 3,000 a month. I don't know. Depending on where you work, maybe that's a pretty good deal. But that was also pre every company going lean and there being like 18 layoffs per week on my Twitter feed, which is causing like all kinds of crippling depression. We got a new building recently. That was also used as an excuse. Also, it's more efficient and stimulates cooperation. Yeah, the new building was one they tried. We like moved buildings, and that was a big point of like, oh, we have a new building, we should be using this. And my argument was like, we're still going to use it. We'll come in when we need to. Like if we're deploying or pushing a VM up or something where we need like 60 gigs. Or if we're having like a PMO or something, like we got to come in and like have a big meeting with people, we're going to show up to the office. But like we can also not show up to the office. And we are adults doing the best we can to make sure that we succeed at our jobs. So we'll make that decision as we need to. And they saw a lot of success by giving people that flexibility. But I don't think also that would probably work in every situation, because in hindsight, I probably cared too much about doing a good job. Because again, like I'm not getting that cut that the ownership's getting. So when I'm sitting there stressing out about like how to make the company succeed, on the inside, I am thinking to myself a little bit like, wow, I could just be putting this energy into my own business instead. But yeah, it was very much we paid for the real estate, so we should be using it type of thing. But I've spent most of my life listening to my dad where he says like, yeah, you paid for the real estate, but also we could not be paying for the real estate. So why are we still paying for it? If we don't need it, we could downsize or something. And what you'll often find is some people like to just walk in and go, look at all my people. And that's a hard one to argue against, because no amount of sound or reason or logic will get them to stop just wanting to go, oh, look, my people, when they walk in. until they walk in, like what happened one time, they walk in with a customer and then one of the software developers is swearing up a storm because the software is not working as the customer walks through the office, which HR was not happy about. They came over to me and they're like, Dean, I'm going to need you to talk to this person because if you don't talk to them about what just happened, I'm going to have to talk to them. And I don't think we want me to have to talk to them. And I was like, okay, Mr. HR person, I will go tell them that in the future, they should keep to an all caps rage in the group chat and not necessarily shout it from the top of their lungs as one of our biggest clients comes through the office. And in that case, maybe you're thinking to yourself, wow, maybe remote work isn't too bad. We also went from single offices to group rooms. Yay, so noisy, and they did not even have blinds for windows or a month. Yeah, that was another tough one because it went to like a very open office plan, and it just, again, you're all software developers. You're all going to be in calls with each other. So what ended up happening was you had like all of these like rows of people working, working on their stuff and trying to get their stuff working or whatever. Everyone would have headphones on. They'd all be in like a Skype call or a Teams meeting or something. And then you're just sitting there working remotely from the office. And the only time you really get to, you really take a break is when someone comes over and they go, hey, let's talk about not work. And then you lose like 3 hours of your time because people are treating it like this is a social gathering point, which is kind of frustrating because like I would be getting more work done if I were working remotely, which also has its own set of consequences. Like, oh, if I'm working remotely, I'm more likely to not put my laptop down at the end of the day. And then I might be putting in more hours than I either should be or than I'm claiming that I have. And what you want to do is Deanin gave up on the Twitch viewers. No. I'm reading. I'm going on my rant here. You end up in a situation where like maybe you work like, let's say you start to push 9 or 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours because you're like, no one's gonna notice, right? No one's gonna see that I'm working these extra 2 hours. If I do these extra 2 hours of work though, maybe they'll look at it and they'll say, oh, look at how much he got done. And then what I was trying to raise as a concern at the time was there's people that are working more than their 8 hours. That's going to become the norm. And then when we come to crunch time, it's no longer going to be, we need to crunch to 10 hours. Now the norm is 10 hours. Now we're going to crunch to 12 hours. And that's a very dangerous thing to let happen. So it really became an issue of like, if you saw someone online and go, yeah, exactly. That doesn't happen though. You work extra hard to get more done. And then that becomes the new expectation. Exactly. So like what I said was like, if you see someone online and they've clearly been online for more than 8 hours, just go like, hey man, you can go, it's okay. Like there's still tomorrow. We'll be fine. And that I think helped a lot with the idea that like people were, cause I mean, some people were putting on like 16 hours. I've done it and there was no point. Like there was literally still tomorrow. We were fine. There was no deadline at the time, but I was like, oh, I'll just keep working. It was really hard for me when I first started to like turn that off and say, okay, you have to find that balance. Do you think Ruby will gain popularity in the future? I think there's a good chance with Rails 8 that could happen, that you could see another increase. It'll really depend on how they handle it. Now, a lot of the decisions they've been making, I personally think, reduce the barrier to entry for a lot of developers. And I think that's the key is if you reduce the barrier to entry, you get more people that start using it as a hobby. You get more people advocating for it in like the rooms, and then it starts getting picked up again and readopted. I have to go. UPS is running out. Lights out as well. Bye. Yep. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Love Dean's approach to life. Just live it. Only do 37-hour days because I'm a terrible dev and I need to meet bare minimum expectations. Yeah. No, it's do your 8 hours, do good work during that. And also like if you're a new developer, it's pretty common for people to just do 4 hours worth of work in an 8-hour day. So if you're sitting there freaking out because you feel like you're not working as much as you should be, maybe I would like just check in with your manager or something and just be like, am I meeting expectations? And I think you'll be surprised to see that you're probably meeting expectations, even though you feel like you're not working all the time. What do you think of Rails versus Django? Many of my friends are Python guys, swear by it. I don't know. I haven't used Django. I feel like it's not talked about a lot right now. So it's probably in a similar situation to Rails, where it probably has its loyal following and people are willing to swear by it. But if you were to ask either side to try the other one, they're probably going to have issues with it. Because again, I think ultimately a lot of it comes down to preference. So maybe we add that to the list. We got Laravel. We have to do Phoenix, and then we'll do the Django in addition to the Next.js stuff that we did. I'm going to start a list, actually. What did we say? We said Django, or let me do it in order. Laravel. Then we had Phoenix apps. And then we need to do the Django. Because I personally like learning, all these different frameworks and tools and just seeing how they compare and contrast. And then it lets me form a more informed opinion, and it lets me also go like, oh, we should have X, Y, or Z in Rails land or something. It's a good way to improve what your environment is. Anyways, this clearly didn't work. There we go. Okay. Kamal just works TM. Register. I'm going to create my account real quick. We also said you're doing Bulma. That's right. Yes, Bulma. Okay, I'm going to have to start categorizing these things because the Bulma stuff, I would probably want to test in like a Rails app so I could directly compare it to Tailwind. Bulma CSS. Yeah, so I probably want to set this up and see how it compares and contrasts to Tailwind. That's the hard part though, is always like, trying to compare all of these texts and then trying to be fair and balanced. And then you always get people that are like, oh, you're covering X and not Y. And I'm like, it's not because I'm choosing. It's just, that's the way the video worked. I don't know. I sit down some days and I'm like, Rails new. And you even see it in the video sometimes. And I go, I guess we'll use Tailwind this time. And that's me making that decision is just, I don't know. I made it up. There's no like deeper agenda. I'm just like, today I feel like Tailwind, I guess. And then I just go from there. But it does cause me to like reject some of the things like Bulma where, I don't know, because I'm not as familiar with it. I'm more inclined to go with something I'm familiar with. Or like with Tailwind, it's just convenient because I can just simple form install and then I get a cool looking, login form with Devise or something without having to think too much. I think I find it insane how it's been normalized to do big front end projects and just not realize how much effort gets so little compared to Rails. Well, yeah, and that's what we saw with like Next.js, where a lot of it was more customizable, but there was more work that you had to do there, or at least it felt more customizable, and it felt like there was more work you had to do there to like get something up and running, as opposed to just saying like bundle add devise Rails G scaffold. But there's the Rails magic that happens that hides some of that stuff. So when you go to actually customize it or override it or something, you end up just as in the weeds as in the other case, or possibly more so if you're using Devise, because there it's like, good Lord, you need to go get a second college degree just to figure out how that works sometimes. You still have the synergy and the tagline from the other night. Brings me joy. Yeah, in the login screen. I forgot about that. Or is it register? Synergy. Some may call it a bug. We call it innovation. Oh, geez. Yeah, so this is up and running again. So again, I'll post the GitHub repo and I'll post the actual app in case anyone wants to go look at it. This one, and then this one. And then this one. There we go. Always try and make the stuff accessible. And then we have like the stuff we want to actually look at. Now, the thing that I do have to give credit to, because like we meme on Kamal a lot, it is really nice to just come in here and change like one IP address and just redeploy. That is such a good experience when it does work. Have you tried Nest.js before? Is there a Nest.js? Okay, this is my problem with JavaScript is I don't know if there is a Nest.js or if this is just a type. There's an actual Nest.js. I haven't tried this before. What an ecosystem where you can like presumably typo something and then there's just also a framework called that. Progressive Node.js framework for building efficient, reliable, and scalable server-side applications. Interesting. Maybe I'll add Nest.js to the list of Nest is the equivalent to Rails for Node.js. Ooh, interesting. All right, then it will be added to the list. And that's that. You've probably just like titled that video when I end up posting that video. They put Node on Rails ? I'm going to get a comment from someone where they're like, yeah, this is why I stopped watching your channel years ago. Oh, geez. Okay. Might as well do something in here while we do this. The theme stuff, I guess. We'll just play around with this. We can keep talking, and I'll just do some work in the side. But yeah, there's so many of these frameworks that I'm just not familiar with these days that it's starting to like overwhelm me when I think about it. Because like you used to have like the big few that people would always talk about, and now it's just everyone's got their tech stack of choice, and it's always like just some wild stuff you haven't even heard of before. Like my favorite example, I think, was the this one. Vanilla.js is a fast, lightweight, cross-platform framework for building incredible, powerful JavaScript applications. I've referred to Vanilla.js as like it's vanilla. It's the plain it's just regular plain JavaScript. And then someone goes, "What if we turned that into a framework too?" This one blew my. This was where I was like, okay, we've probably gone too far at this point. We should probably like, chill out a bit with the everything's a JavaScript framework. That was one of those where you really have to take a pause and say, okay, have we flown too close to the sun this time? Days since last JavaScript framework. Oh no. Updated daily. If you spot an unlikely mistake on this website, get in touch. That's funny. This is the practical web development that we need in this world. But I mean, there's like, what is it? NAMI, I think. Is this what it's called? Oh my God. Okay. Ruby framework. Is it NAMI? I think the thing that a lot of people would probably be shocked by is that there's not just Rails in terms of Ruby frameworks. Like there are other tools that you could probably look at for Ruby specifically if you really like Ruby. And then if you like game development, there was also a Ruby game engine someone was working on. Is it like Dragon Ruby? Yeah, I think this one, Dragon Ruby. Professional grade 2D game engine. I tried Sinatra. Was not was not fun. Jesus, excuse me. Yeah, so there's also Sinatra. Not although good music too. But that's not the point. Here you go. DSL for quickly creating web applications in Ruby with minimal effort. So there's a bunch of other options there, even if you just like Ruby. So the fact that we meme on like JavaScript is there's all these options. Like, why would you use any of these other ones if you have access to Rails? Well, it turns out because if you just sit there and you say, well, we already have Rails, we're done, you're never going to have innovation. And then, people aren't going to, it's not going to improve and everyone else is going to like race past you. A couple times a year, they do a hackathon for Dragon Ruby, and you can get the whole platform for free on itch.io. Just got it for free last week. Doesn't hurt to keep an eye out if people are looking to build games. Interesting. Yeah, so like, because I'm you know, obviously big gamer, but also like being able to develop games sounds fun. So having like a hackathon specifically for this would be really cool. Oops, itch.io. But yeah, there was what was the other one? Didn't one of the RPG makers use Ruby? I feel like that's the thing I remember seeing. Which one was it? It was like RPG Maker. Was it Ace? Where that was like a big one for how they've. It was really like friendly to learn. I think for a lot of people that weren't, you know, big on coding and stuff. So having like a pretty easy to use syntax was probably nice for them. Was one of the benefits, if I had to guess. As opposed to like if you're telling them go write C++ or something, they're probably gonna have like a harder time. I've done for years C#, Angular, React professionally, and Svelte, Rust for web and API and hobby, but coming back to Ruby on Rails is so nice. Well, yeah, you always feel like when you come back to Ruby on Rails and you run those first couple scaffold generators, you're just kind of sitting there like, wow, that's hours worth of work I would have had to do in insert other framework here. And it does take you a minute to like, you know, appreciate just how much time you're saving by doing like a bundle add devise and then a Rails G devise install, Rails G devise user, simple form install, stuff like that. There is quite a bit there. I'm back from mobile. Welcome back. Welcome back. You don't have to participate in the event to get it for free either. Pretty sweet if you can catch the deal. Well, how much is Dragon Ruby? Let me see. Dragon Ruby game toolkit. 48 USD. Interesting. Yeah, that is a pretty sweet deal then if they're giving it away for free during those hackathons. It's 5 a.m. here. You have to sing for me so I can sleep. I can start playing RuneScape and I can just sit there and mine ore for an hour. You'll fall asleep right away. I can't think of anything less engaging than that in terms of content. Is just a power mining stream. Yeah, maybe this is something I'll look at then, is like, you know, games in Ruby, RuneScape, old school RuneScape. I've been on a star mining kick recently. So you click once every like 10 minutes, every 7 minutes maybe, and then you just walk away again. This is how I've been spending my time. Like, okay, so here I'll give you guys behind the scenes of how I do my development when I'm not like streaming or doing videos. Like if I'm actually working on a video, this is literally how I've been doing it for weeks. In like, you know, in secret, I guess. Although I have friends that play, so it ends up just being like, you know, I'll hop on and then they'll just message me on Discord and they'll be like, how's the RuneScape grind going? And I'll just send them a screenshot of me still at the stars, just power mining away. And then I got like my code in the background because it just sits here. But I usually put it off on the other monitor, so it just like sits in a corner. And then every time like the star depletes a stage, it sends me like a push notification. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I got to go click again, or I got to go move. So yeah, and again, like if you haven't played RuneScape in years, it's really funny. So like over here, we have all these plugins now, which make it super easy. So like you install the plugin, it tells you this is where all the falling stars are in the game. And then you double click to change worlds to that world. And again, you have to remember RuneScape, like old school RuneScape, this is like, you know, old school RuneScape's like 10, 12 years old, but like the game itself is like 30 years old. So you're not looking at the best graphics here. So deal with. But, you know, it says East Falador Bank. So then you right click teleport and you go there, or you go with, like, in my case, I keep all my teleports in my inventory so that I can always just go to the stars. Because like the whole point of this is to play as little as possible. So I set everything up so that there's like very little thinking that I have to do to get to wherever I need to go do this mining. Cause like I hate the skill. I don't want to deal with it. But if I'm working on YouTube videos, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm totally distracted. I can go do this and I don't have to like think at all, and I can keep leveling, and it's totally great. So I just run over and then I click on the star, and then that's it. I'm now mining for the next 5 minutes, right? And then I'll just sit here and I get experience. You can see the little changes. I'm like, okay, we're mining, and then I just move it off stream and I just leave it over here, and I go back to working on the videos. And there's a couple videos on the channel where I'm like cutting wood or I'm mining or something, and you'll see the notification pop up where it's like, Deanin is idle and has stopped doing the activity. And I'm just like, well, I guess now people know I play RuneScape. Should we play games on weekend, a multiplayer game? Yeah, I was thinking about that. That might be a fun one to do. Like a Saturday or Sunday gaming stream or something. Why even click it all? More things to outsource. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's what's so funny about this. And you have to play the MMO in like the truly social experience by, hiding all chat and not ever talking to anyone. But like you really do just very little here. This is like, oh yeah, I'll click once every 5 minutes, and then you call this playing a game, but really it's more like an idle game at this point. But it does give you a whole new appreciation. Like when you do this, of course, it's a little bit satirical, but like there's whole subreddits dedicated to like rule breaking and botting and stuff, and you're just like, there's actually people that have completely outsourced playing this game. And it's like a pretty prevalent problem too. Like they're always trying to catch all these people writing these scripts and stuff that just are blatantly cheating at the game by not playing it. Let's do something this weekend. I mean, suggest a game so I can download. I don't know what game would work. I don't have any gamer friends who are also developers. See, I'm fortunate. I'm in like a Discord with a bunch of friends that all play video games. So for me, it's more like finding developers to talk to. I have like my work friends that I still stay in contact with, but like finding that overlap can be very difficult. Although I do have a couple people that, interestingly enough, we all like watch Chilled Chaos and stuff. I picked up oh geez, my microphone just fell apart. I picked up BattleBit. It's great. Not everyone likes it. That's the I think I have that actually. That's the like voxel character looking Battlefield shooter, right? Or am I making that up? Let me re-screw in my microphone real quick. I'm just holding onto it right now. There we go. Yeah, it's really simple graphics, but I really like the movements and features. Yeah, let me see. I think, yeah, BattleBit Remaster, this one. Yeah, so for like background, for anyone that doesn't know, I was like a huge Halo player back in the day. So anytime someone recommends a shooter, immediately I'm just like, okay, I'm in. Or Minecraft or Kamal. Yeah, okay. Kamal, that's a good one that'll just like gradually cause everyone to resent me. But I could see like Minecraft would be an interesting one. Because that's sort of like a pretty wide appeal for people. It would just require to actually like set up a proper server and stuff. As opposed to like the one that I have with my friends that's at this point, in all honesty, pretty hacked together, right? But yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any suggestions, I can start thinking something up. Vanilla or modded? That I feel like it would probably have to be pretty vanilla, right? Because not only like the barrier for entry for people, but also like I don't know how many people would show up, but I feel like if you get more than 5 people on like all the mod server, that server grinds to a halt. I'm doing farms. Oh yeah, that's right. You were the one posting the farms in chat. Of course, that's why you were asking. But yeah, so I'll usually just like keep this off to the side and just do this because I'm trying to max my mining level. Which as you can see is 91 out of 99, which means realistically there's probably another month and a half of doing this to get this up to 99. Great game though. You just never play it and then you end up being a high level on it. Which if that's not the perfect game, I don't know what is. What do we plan to be doing for the stream again? Yeah, it was supposed to be Linktree, and now we're talking about RuneScape, Minecraft, and Dragon Ruby. The longest side quest. Eventually, I'll get back to it. We'll add a sorting button, and then I'll just say that I got some work done today. Because that's actually in the to-do list somewhere. And then we'll also we'll delegate this one to Bugs so that we can just pretend that one's not on this list. Because I would like to have some way to like sort these. How good is Dragon Ruby? I have no idea. So I guess we can like games made with Dragon Ruby. Unless it's something on their actual website, maybe. Let me see. Showcase. Okay, so we got a bunch of different styles here. So what is this? The Keeper. Let's full screen this and let's see. Okay, this is a weird art style. Okay. So there's like some kind of waves or something. This really doesn't answer any of my questions though. Tetris with Dragon Ruby. Okay.
Hi, this is Ryan.
Okay. Well, apparently it's changed someone's life, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I wonder how much of this you could like implement into something else. Because now my mind's going like, could you throw a Dragon Ruby game into a Rails engine or something? And then compare that to like Godot. Oh, this is part 1. How many parts are there? Playlists. They don't have a playlist. Videos? Part 2. So 2-part series for making Tetris and Dragon Ruby. That's not bad, I guess. I can just ask a question and get him on a side quest and leave the stream and ruin it for everyone. And Dean will keep talking for 3 hours about some random shit. Again, the problem isn't getting me to talk. It's getting me to shut up. It's like, I think that's how Shrek put it about Donkey at one point. Yeah, this seems like a neat little game engine, but I would still, like, in all honesty, if you're looking to make games, I would go, if you're doing like 2D, I'd go for something like Godot, open source and free. And then, of course, if you're making anything 3D, I would just go Unreal Engine. There's going to be more of a learning curve, but it's going to be probably pretty good solution for whatever you want to make. And then if you want to constantly worry about the license changing on you and you getting kind of screwed, you can go with Unity. But I would personally not recommend this choice anymore because they've burned that bridge a couple times too many now, and it seems like that's not the way you want to go if you're even starting out to learn. But Godot also has like 3D options. I just personally think Unreal's probably better for that. And then you do also want to be aware of like the fact that Unreal does use C++ under the hood. So if you want to do some actual coding there, you're going to have to learn C++, which has a reputation for a reason. Especially if you're coming at it from the perspective of like a Ruby developer where so much of your work is done for you. When you go into C++ land, you're going to be having a slightly different experience. Because imagine every time you went to make a class in Ruby, you then had to make a separate file where you define that class. It feels like you're doing your work twice, which is not the best developer experience. Meanwhile, over here in Ruby land, you can like throw three words into a file and that'll do like a whole bunch of stuff for you. But, you know, it always depends on what you're trying to make. I personally, I'm a big like voxel person, so a lot of what I like to make is like voxel engines. and I've made a few in like Unreal Engine, and that was kind of a pain because like the math libraries I needed were like basic C++ libraries. I had to figure out how to like even plug those in. That was really confusing. And then like in something like Godot, it was super easy to set it up and like at least get something working. Show us your Minecraft. I don't even know where my Minecraft is. Is okay that I get you on random stuff, like maybe real devs will stop watching streams. Well, like I feel like this is just a casual way to interact. It doesn't necessarily have to be development. Let me see, CurseForge. I'm sure if people want me to actually do some Ruby coding, they'll start yelling at me in chat and be like, "Hey man, you remember that project you were supposed to work on?" Let's see. I did want to resize the image here. So we'll do that real quick. And then, yeah, right here, all the mods. So I haven't personally connected this in forever, so we'll see if this even still works. I do like your random candid tech discussions. Yeah, I feel like that's what I bring to the table is I have a lot of random interests, and then I can somehow relate them back to tech at some point. Ever tried ethical hacking? Not in, oh, okay, I have to log in, of course. Not in like any sort of serious capacity. There was like some stuff that I had to do for work, but I wouldn't say that was like a ethical hacking session so much as a make sure the application works session. Oh, your password is incorrect. Oh, because it's Microsoft, I think, right? Hold on. This one, and then maybe this. Sign in is blocked. Okay, hold on. How much experience do you have as a dev? Well, I got my CS degree in 3 years ago. What did I get it? Let me see. 4 years ago. So I'd probably say I have 4 years experience. I technically have more because I worked on stuff during undergrad, but yeah, I would say it's probably that. Okay, I have to figure out what happened here. It looks like my Minecraft account got like reset or something. I don't know. Oh wait, actually, let me just do this. Open this up, move it over here. Sign in. Okay. We got that, and then I have to reset it with Microsoft. Okay, hold on. We're doing some logging in again because this is all I do these days for some reason. Oh, but Microsoft has its own authenticator, of course. Oh, because okay, now I have to do a two-factor because apparently my authenticator wasn't enough of a two-factor. I feel like at this point you should call this multi-factor and not two-factor. Okay, there we go. Let me minimize this. I am 31. I'm old enough to have to think about the number, which causes me pain in a whole different kind of way. Although, to be fair, I've had to think about the number ever since I turned 20. Oh, you have like 8 years experience? Well, yeah, I mean, like, what I count as experience is like what the recruiter or the person looking at my resume thinks of as experience. But like in terms of how long I've been coding for like 9 years. Which isn't like, you know, just, I guess, playing around coding. It's like actually building stuff. I've probably been doing it for like 9 years. So I have to come over here. Why'd you get your undergrad late? Well, at first I didn't know what I wanted to do, which is always its own problem, right? Does that work? Oh, because it's an old password. Then I originally started off pre-med, but I realized that pre-med was incredibly boring, at least to me. And then I was like, okay, well, I still like the computer stuff. I like the programming, and that's where I ended up switching. Let me see. Got any student loans? Oh, you know it. U.S. student loans, that comes with the territory. I think I left school with like, it was like $61,000 worth of tuition. So yeah, that's fun. Okay, we'll use this one. Sorry, I'm trying to like reset this right now. And Microsoft does this lovely thing where they keep track of like a billion different passwords, so you can never reuse passwords. And then like my password manager is like, you should just use this one because that's what you used last time. And I go to use it, and then they're like, no, you can't do that. So then I got to like tell my password manager, hey, I need you to reset everything. Dude, and now I have to put in my authenticator again. Authenticator 943. That. There we go. Jeez. Okay. Okay, and that signed me into Xbox. How does that help me with Minecraft? What are they doing? All right, whatever. Then we'll press play. Okay, so now we should, in theory, be able to launch this, and we can take a look at the server. Again, I don't know if people are going to find this interesting. I personally like all the tech mods, so it's going to be very tech heavy. At least what I play around with. I'm very much I don't know. I can never stop thinking about programming, so the first thing I do is I go, oh, computer. I like computers, and then I start playing with that. And I usually end up doing like a overcomplicated storage system. I never finished grade 12 or so. Got super bored of how stuff was taught. Yeah, and like that was weird when I went into college because I kept hearing like how many smart people I would meet, how it would challenge me, and how different it was from like grade school. And then I got there and I sat down on like my first lecture after I started, and I was like, oh, this is just more grade school, but I don't know. I get slightly more freedoms. Like I'm free to get up and leave if this is boring me. But then I ran into like all those courses where they like require attendance. And then you're just sitting there like, dude, this is like literally just grade school. Like there's forced attendance. I have to be here. And like half these classes, they weren't worth the $2,000 I paid. And then you're making me drive, because I had to commute like an hour. So I had to drive an hour to go waste my time in a class that I was paying too much for. And then they were like, if you miss like 3 classes, you end up failing the course or whatever. And like some of these things, you don't need to be there. Like it's such an easy topic. Like one of them, best teacher I ever had was probably like one of my IT professors, where he was just like, attendance is optional. You don't have to be here. I showed up half the lectures and I finished with like a 104 in the class. Because he just understood, like, you don't need to be there. Like, if you understand the topic, you understand the topic. Then there was another one where he would have like a pop quiz. He'd have random pop quizzes whenever he felt like it, which was his way of forcing attendance. And if you missed like one pop quiz, you'd effectively fail the class. And you're just like, okay, so I basically have to be there every day. Which at one point, like we had a tree fall down our driveway. And like I didn't realize until I went to leave for school at like 10 a.m. or something. So I go out there at like 8:30 or something, and there's a tree in the driveway, and I'm like frantically cutting it in the rain because I'm like, I can't miss a pop quiz in my algorithms class. And I showed up to my algorithms class later that day, and of course that was the day where there was no quiz. I was just like, okay, so I just sat in the rain cutting this tree like my life depended on it, and there wasn't even a point in that. And I was like, good God, why not just do scheduled quizzes at that point? Like everyone's an adult here. Give me a break. I'm going to be able to call into work, but I can't call into a class on like balancing a binary tree. Very, very strange. I guess that was a similar situation. My dad said when he went to his like for his master's, where he like went from being in the working world back into class, and he's like, it was really weird transitioning back to being treated like a child effectively. or at least not being treated with like the same type of respect. It was strange for him. I never ended college. Here in Costa Rica, the education is trash. It's very sad. Third world country. Yeah, that's the other part is like if you don't have any options near you. I was fortunate that like Oakland University was close to me. Same for Pakistan, yeah. I had one, he told me I don't need to come anymore as I already have enough attendance. Yeah, and see, and like at that point, that's so strange when you're just like, okay, no, actually attendance now means you don't have to come. Germany is OG. Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that question early. Why didn't you get undergrad from Germany? It's free. That's why I'm moving. Well, because I already lived in the US at the time. And like I'd have to move over to Germany to do that as opposed to here where I like, you know, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Okay, time to see if this will actually work. Okay, so my IP address is messed up. That is one thing I'm noticing. Oh, right, because I'm using this for... okay, hold on. I'm using this for the Linktree course and all of the other Kamal stuff, so I I managed to break this. Okay, let me come into my panel real quick and figure out what the IP address for this is. And then I'll be able to actually show this to you. Although I should point out, this is not the server that I did the computer craft with Rails connection. That was a different one. Come in here. Like this. Let me see if that works. It looks like it's up and running. Yeah, strict speed limit. Okay. Again, I have no idea how the computer is going to handle this because these modded servers can absolutely grind your stuff to a halt. Even when I did the video on this, I had to like preemptively log in and I had to make sure that like all of my recording was customized for recording that Minecraft video. And then I'd pop between this and like the Rails thing, and every time I tab over, I had to do like some fancy things to make it actually like not look terrible when I was recording it. It was such a scuffed video that like storing stuff on your Rails server video. It was a fun concept, but like ultimately, what's the point? Why would you need a Rails app that's connected to a Minecraft server? Like, yeah, you can go store your inventory there or something, but like, why? Although I guess maybe like persistence between worlds is why you would do that. Maybe that's an idea. I don't know. I don't know how much like I don't know how much like plugins and stuff solve that. But then you'd also run into the issue of like people just, you know, making stuff up. And this is the other part about like my modded stuff where it's so slow. It takes forever to load up. Which is funny because if you actually like look at the like the computer that I'm running, like there's pretty much no reason for this. I think I free up like 30 gigs of RAM for it to run with. And it takes forever. Which was the hard part with a lot of my friends was trying to get this stuff like working. On like whatever their machines were, because I would think it would work for me, but I wouldn't know that it wasn't working for them until I had them actually test it. And I'd sit there and be like, oh, okay, so like this actually just runs terribly for you. Okay. Tab out real quick. Make sure everything's good. Okay. Oh, and then I because it's modded and I'm wearing weird armor, everything's super fast. Yeah, so this was like or this was like where I had all of my stuff. So I hid my stuff like way north of everyone else, and I think everyone else was like down here, which was like my first base. And I went up here because I was like, oh, this is a safer area to be at. But then eventually everyone ended up finding me anyways. But I have like my computer system hooked up to everything. So like if you right click this, it's completely out of power. Which means, hold on, I definitely remember how to do this. No, this should be working. I don't know why it's not working. It's probably broken somewhere. But yeah, I had like this server and then this this base would do all the producing of stuff. And this would connect to the other base. Is it this one? Yeah, this one. This was like the... You can tell the server's been running forever and no one's really on here because there's just like random NPCs that are just stuck. But assuming this loads, you'll actually be able to see like the main base that we had. And this was the one where like all my friends would hang out here and then they would just go off and build somewhere else. This is like the central hub. You log into the server, you move to this base and then you go somewhere else. And yeah, the server's down. This is like one of the things I ran into personally was like the longevity of these servers isn't great. If you try to like go back to them, they will absolutely just crash on you over and over again. So that's where I think like if you were to do one of these with like, you know, people from like the stream or something or from like the YouTube channel, it would make more sense to do like a vanilla type thing where everyone can sort of participate. The downside is you lose out on a lot of the cool tech stuff you could do, which would allow you to like integrate with other servers. Because like one of my favorite things to do was play with the computer craft computers where you'd like, you could play like audio or stuff depending on if someone was near you. And it would be so funny because you could just, you could mess with people so hard. Like my friend made a Adventure Time tree and then I just went through and oh God, this is getting so loud. I went through and I set up a thing that would play the Adventure Time theme song depending on how close he was to it. And you could like spread out the speakers and stuff. But a lot of that requires like admin access and stuff too, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I think something like this would be fun for other people to, I don't know, to join in on. But yeah, I totally get it. Like if you don't have friends to play with, it's kind of hard. I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can like, you know, I have people to talk to and play these games with. You follow world politics at all? Or are you like, nah, man, it isn't going to solve Kamal? Unfortunately, I know too much about world politics, which causes me to like be very fatigued about it a lot of times. Because, I mean, let's be honest. If you're not on one side or the other and you're sitting somewhere in the middle, you're sitting there like, geez, these people just... The best example was probably like Jon Stewart the other day when he posted his video and then, you know, both sides managed to completely miss the message he was putting out there. And then he just ended up getting roasted. And then you're just like, okay, so yeah, there really is no talking like an adult these days. Any anxiety related to world politics? I guess none more than most people probably. Like there's always so much going on where at the drop of a hat, everything could go wrong. But I think at the end of the day, everyone likes being alive a little bit too much to make any bad decisions. So I'm not like super stressed about it. And like, even if that happens, it's like, what can you do? Lord knows me sitting here deploying with Kamal isn't going to solve any of that. So really all you can do is just sit there and hope that nothing happens. But I'm sure some people think that, you know, they could solve all of these issues by having a hot enough take that gets spread on Reddit or something. It's yeah. Well, it's like the you know, a lot of the discussions around like the superconductors, for example, like what happens if things go south. You know, Taiwan manufactures a lot of superconductors, and then you see that like a lot of countries are investing into that infrastructure, but then it turns out it's actually really hard to do that because it takes a lot of skilled labor. It requires salaries that some countries aren't comfortable paying, either because it's lower or higher than you would expect. And then like if you try to set up a fab somewhere else, you run into an issue with like, oh, this region in particular doesn't have training, so now we need to allocate some of these funds for training the local population so they can actually make this stuff. And then you get it all up and running, and then you're like, oh, we're actually only making 5-6 nanometer chips as opposed to the 3 nanometer chips. And it's like, okay, but that's still good. Like if that happens, yay, you know, we're making progress. But on the other hand, like if Taiwan starts disappearing, then, you know, we still have a problem there. And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, what am I going to do to save Taiwan? Like realistically, I'm going to try and vote in the way that I think I can. And then I'm just going to sit here and like I don't know, flamingo with his head in the sand and go, I hope this works. And that's about all I can really do. Yeah, the online mobs, you see a lot of that. And what's really interesting is if you ever approach one of those from the perspective of someone who, like, if you approach one of those from the same perspective that you have conversations in real life with, you'll find that you are now the bad guy. And that was like the wake up moment for me was, I said something similar to like what I would have just said with like my work friends at the time relating to politics. And I was just like an instant, this guy's the worst, burn him at the stake situation. And I was like, this is actually like, I don't even think this is that unpopular of an opinion. And like, we have a pretty broad political spectrum where I worked at the time. How am I the bad guy right now? And I sat there for a minute and everyone was like, they were piling on me. And I was like, now that I think about it, I don't even think they know what their point is. Because like if I had posted this in the other subreddit post, the one from like 2 days ago, everyone would have been agreeing with this. And like you can see that, okay, good example, super controversial figure right now. Elon Musk decides to sue OpenAI because of their for-profit thing. You can find 2 different posts on the same like subreddit of people where in one they're going OpenAI being, for-profit is kind of cringe. And then you find the other one where it's Elon Musk thinks OpenAI being for-profit is kind of cringe. And there's 2 different groups of people that show up to comment on those. The first group of people shows up and says, yes, OpenAI doing this isn't great. And then the second post, those people, they're just not interested in that topic. So they don't reply. And then you get everyone else that's there that's like, actually, I agree with OpenAI because I don't like Elon. And it's so weird because, don't get me wrong, I can't stand the fact that the guy has like a Twitter account and he can't stop using it all the time. It drives me nuts sometimes when I see the stuff he's tweeting. It's fine if it's not about like computer science, but as soon as he starts talking about software, I'm just saying, I'm like, wow, this is wrong. How are you this wrong about other topics too? But like you can separate that disagreement with the guy from the fact that there's some common ground. What's that meme? Like, oh no, my biggest enemy just made a decent point. And I don't know, you go in there and you're like, wow, this really is just all one giant echo chamber. And then I'm just like, you know what? I don't have the energy for it. I don't care. I'm gonna walk away. Half these people they just want to like complain online. And if that's what like causes them comfort, more power to them, I guess. But me personally, that was me when I was like 16 and I thought I could save the world by explaining to someone why their political beliefs weren't great on Facebook. And now I'm like, you know what, actually, no one uses Facebook. It doesn't matter if you're upset on Facebook. Because like every once in a while, my mom will like show me something from Facebook and I look at the comments in the peripheral and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. These people are actually out here having these like heated political discussions, removing family members from their friends list because someone disagrees with them politically. Because like online, they've been told this person's their political enemy, but in reality, both people want to make like what they perceive the world to be as better, although they're being told that they want to make the world worse, it's a little frustrating, but whatever. And then you got the people that run around and they'll like label you as an enlightened centrist if you think like that, which is another very convenient argument. I live 30,000 or 30K from society to avoid those people. My town, nobody cares. Yeah, I live in a area that probably doesn't politically agree with me on a lot of things, unfortunately. But it turns out that all you have to do is just not talk about politics all the time, and then you're a much more tolerable person for people. I just think let people have their opinions, but as soon as you start like undermining your own point for the sake of owning the other guy, that's where you probably have an issue with, I don't know, your approach to solving the problem. And usually you see that about, the decision about politics at work from DHH, that's an interesting one. It's weird because like I worked at it was like a government subcontractor. So like when I was hired, they were like, there's going to be heated political discussions. It's just the nature of the job. I was like, that's fine. I would have expected that there more so than at whatever base camp does. It's weird that he felt the need to do that. That said, I've seen like some of the stuff you see when you interview at places. Don't get me wrong. There's some things people should not be sending to potential candidates during the interview process. I don't want to name a company, but everyone here has heard of this company, and I've interviewed there. And they basically sent me a slide that was like, "Hey, look, our company is a giant red flag. Nobody here is working, and that's a problem." And I was like, okay. And then like the political discussion comes up, and then it's like very clearly they have a political identity that has completely steamrolled out of control and is no longer allowing them to work productively. I'm sitting there, I'm like, how did the government job not be this political? But like this company has this problem. So maybe it was actually just that bad and he felt the need to do that. At the end of the day, like, again, if you work there, either accept it or look for something else. I don't know. I don't know if it was right or if it was wrong, but it's weird that that they felt that was necessary. But then I could see it, like, depending on the climate, I could see it grinding to a halt, I guess. And stay away from people that use Kamal. Clearly, they are brain damage. Oh, geez. Have you ever tried indie hacking? I mean, I've gone to a couple hackathons, but aside from that, I haven't done any like actual indie hacking. I don't know if you want to call it that. There was a couple people I went to school with who were really big on like the indie hacking community. So I kind of just got most of that out of the peripheral. At least you can post MOR pics on X. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Like they would spend hours upon hours doing their hackathon projects, and in a lot of cases it ended up just being like, I don't know. They would say that they were spending all this time, but then they would like link the repository, and I don't know if they just weren't, if they didn't know that you could just go look at like what tools they use, but you'd like open the repo and like this entire hackathon project would just be some JavaScript library they imported. And then they're like, look at what I built. And I'm like, how did you win with this? You just imported like a map of a mall that existed in like a Google repo, or a GitHub repo. And then you went, I built this. That seems not totally honest. But then there was other people that made really cool things where like, you know, you tilt the screen and like the gyroscope would tell it which way it was tilted, and then that would cause like a ball on the screen to roll and all of these other things. And like those projects were always neat because I was like, oh, I'd never even thought of using this stuff this way. All these AI projects these days, I can't even imagine what it's like now. It was already obnoxious then with like trying to throw AI into everything. But then it was like a image classifier or something, which was like the hot craze at the time. Like image classifiers are going to solve all our problems. Now, if I imagine it's just like, here's my 1800th hackathon project that's Chat GPT through a API or something. Which, I mean, I've done a few of those and they're fun to play with, but I wouldn't really call it like, it's a fun hobby project, I guess. I wouldn't use it for like a hackathon. Like, let me see. Actually, let me see if I can search for this. I'll do it on the other screen. I want to find the dad tuber one I did because that one was really funny. I think for that I have to go through like my media maybe. Do you go to the gym? I haven't recently. I was actually I was talking to my mom and my dad about that earlier, that I need to start working out pre-stream, I think, because I've noticed that especially the last month or two, I've been very low energy compared to where I normally am. And I think it's because I've just stopped with I've stopped like working out. Like I have a bunch of equipment at home, but I think for me, I also need like the weightlifting and the full gym experience, right? Where is it? I guess it would have been after this. Oh, maybe this one won't show it because it's not. Yeah, I don't think this one will count because it's okay. So let me check if I have like the video. Low energy because of Kamal. It's definitely possible. The Kamal burnout with the deploying. Although again, like, you know, it was Kamal or Kamala Harris. Yeah, my dad asked me if that's the pronunciation because he saw the word Kamal when he got like the YouTube notification, and I was like, I think it's similar. I don't know. That's unfortunate for her to share a name with a tool that has brought me so much misfortune. Okay, let me see. Do I still have this? I must have talked about Dad Tuber at some point. But basically what I did was I'll just walk you guys through the process. There was all those videos of like Doug where he had like an image appear on screen, for example, right? Like we'll take this Conan picture, and it would wiggle back and forth, and then it would spit out AI generated audio, and he uses that as like characters for his streams. So what I did was I went to 11 Labs, and then here you can like generate profiles for like a voice. So I made a profile based on my own voice, but I was talking into it like I was a really like decrepit old man, and I just put like there's a bunch of air behind what I was saying. And I recorded that for like, 60 seconds. I put in the profile, and out came a pretty funny sounding voice, at least to me. And then I went to ChatGPT, and I put in like a prompt about like a guy who's doing VTubing on Twitch, who calls himself a dad tuber, who likes like programming, and he refers to chat as, what was it? I don't know. He like calls everyone chat, basically. How drunk were you, or how much you drink? I didn't drink anything. This is me sober. Like, I don't drink. So when I get like in this mood, it's me. There's nothing I can even hide behind. I can't go, oh, it was questionable substance usage. It's just like, I don't know. That's what Kamal has done to me, I guess. I drink for both of us. But I went to oh, I see. You're talking to Kamir. Okay. I went to ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, can you do this, and can you talk like you're a dad tuber? And he came back with like a bunch of funny stuff in like programming related, and it was okay. But like there was nothing really there that was like interesting to me. So what I did was I went to work on something for Rails. And I went back to ChatGPT later because I got stuck, and I was like, maybe ChatGPT can help with this. So I put in the question that I had with Rails, and I accidentally put it into the chat with DadTuber, and he came back with like the most 80s advice possible, where it was like, oh yeah, so today chat, we're going to be surfing the code waves and solving the deep seas of algorithms or something. And I was just I was losing my mind reading this. It was so funny. And then I was like, what would be even funnier if we took this weird code C surfing dad tuber and we put him through this 11 Labs voice, and out came just a work of art. And I was like, okay. And then I like had an image made for it, and I made like a little snippet of like dad tuber getting ready to premiere his Twitch stream or something. It was one of the funniest things imaginable. And I have the clip somewhere. I posted it on Twitter, but I can't find it. So I'm hoping that like I have it saved somewhere on my computer, because it'd be so funny if I could find that. It definitely shows you like, the AI stuff, assuming you use your own stuff and you're not just out there like stealing people's work. There's definitely something there where you could make some pretty funny clips. Wait, is this it? Maybe I found it actually. Let me see. AI, it was AI video. Part 1, part 2. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I have to figure out how to do this in a way where I don't accidentally just use one of my friend's voices. So let me see. Let me play some music so I can figure out how to mute this real quick so you guys can't hear this. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I'll do this, and then I'll mute this one. And now you guys shouldn't be able to hear this. So now I should be able to like open this, and then I'm not like using my friend's voice for my own gain on stream. No, this isn't it. Okay. So I need to find, where is it? Was it this one? Maybe? Oh wait, I probably still have the profile. Oh, that's not it. Okay. Yeah, I can't find it. If I find it, I'll maybe I'll like post the video or something. But I had like this absolutely beautiful AI generated man who was based on my voice that I thought would have been hilarious to do a tutorial from. Just something like I don't know, like an 80s guy going through like making a website in the modern era, and it's just like dad tuber talking, trying to be like cool and hip in the programming tutorial. I think that would have been a really funny way to do it. Can we push Hotwire to the max on stream? I feel like every time I use Hotwire, I'm pushing it to the max. Although like the Turbo 8 stuff seems pretty cool. The whole Hotwire thing in general, that was a really weird decision by them to rename or to like go Hotwire, and then it was Turbo and Stimulus. And then for months, I got comments from people that were like, I want to learn Hotwire, but you keep talking about Turbo and Stimulus. Like, where's the Hotwire tutorial? Why is Hotwire in the title? And I was like, they are bad at naming things sometimes. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, there's also, what was it? If I go over to my repos, or my stars, I guess. If anyone's interested and you've wondered like how do these things get made, it should be down here a bit. Yeah. Doug actually tried Microsoft in the .NET ecosystem. I don't have to try Microsoft in the .NET ecosystem. You could just go look at like the Xbox names. The Xbox naming system, probably the most convoluted thing on the face of the planet, where you can't even figure out like what they're even trying to do anymore. But if you like Doug's type of content, I don't know if people here watch Doug. He actually posted both his two of his applications that he uses OpenAI for, and there's like a video where he was like explaining how to use them as well, which I think you could probably find on YouTube. It's like if you've ever wanted to make something like what he does, or you wanted to see sort of how he does it, and then the YouTube videos like in the README. That's also a pretty interesting one where you can like, I'll post it, but I'll click on it real quick. Now, I don't go into this expecting like I don't know, a coherent tutorial. Again, it's still Doug. He's still got chat running in the background and a bunch of other stuff. I think he tried his best given the circumstances, but if you ever if you wonder how he does it with all his AI stuff, he open sourced it as much as he could, and he ended up using a lot of the same tools that I stumbled across while I was trying to figure out how to do it. Oh yeah, you ever had pork? Yeah, occasionally I have some. It really depends on what we're feeling like eating that day. Okay, I'm gonna do the sort button real quick. I have to do something. I have an idea for an AI app, Kamal AI. I know it will make millions. Honestly, if you could go to ChatGPT and say, hey, like, okay, let's say you plug in your credit card, you say deploy this app, and it could use like Kamal to deploy the app, you could probably make a decent amount of money. But you would also have a lot of complaints from customers where they said, hey, I asked it to make me an app, and instead it just spit back a segmentation fault or something. So you'd also have to consider that. Okay, let's see. But yeah, we'll do the sort button because then I can at least say I've done something today without getting in trouble for putting this in the video in the stream title. How's pork taste? I've only tried chicken and beef. Probably closer to chicken than beef, I guess. And I don't know. I'd say it's probably like a little bit harder than chicken is the best way I could describe it. But one of the things with it is there's like a lot of fat on it. And if you're not a fan of that, it can be a little bit off-putting to eat. AI SDK 3 generative UI. Last October, we launched V0 Dev, a generative UI design tool that converts text and image prompts to React UIs and streamlines the design engineering process. Today, we're open sourcing the technology with the release of Vercel AI SDK. Developers can now move beyond plain text and markdown chatbots to give LLMs rich component-based interfaces. Interesting. So would you have to draw for this, or would you just like take a screenshot of something? Products of ChatGPT have a profound impact. They help users write code, plan travel, blah blah. Nobody cares. However, LLMs face two important UX challenges: limited or precise knowledge, plain text, markdown only responses. The introduction of tools and function calling, developers have been able to build robust applications that are able to fetch real-time data. You need to rewrite the components on React. I see. Okay. These applications, however, have been challenging to write and are still lacking in richness and interactivity. Thanks to our experience in developing V0 with React server components, we've arrived at a simple abstraction that can solve both these problems. Okay. You can now associate LLM responses to streaming React server components. Start with the most basic streaming examples: streaming text without retrieval or up-to-date information. I see. I was thinking of a different use case. Okay. 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 Now let's solve both original problems. Retrieve the live weather and render a custom UI. If your model supports OpenAI compatible functions or tools, use the new render method to map specific calls to React server components. Oh, geez. Okay. Render, and then tools get city weather. Okay. Oh, I see. And that allows you to reply. Okay. So that allows you to reply with the components then. That's pretty cool. I like that. With the AI SDK. Well, I've done something similar to this before. Not like literally this, but where you would do your API request, you'd return the information, and then you just have to throw that info into like the equivalent of a component or something in like Rails. With the Vercel AI SDK, we're simplifying how you integrate AI into your web apps. By using React server components, you can now stream UI components directly from LLMs without the need for heavy client-side code. Try the demo. Okay, let's try the demo. This is not real financial advice. I'd like to buy 10 shares of Microsoft. Okay. I mean, this is a cool little widget. New chat. What are the trending stocks? This is a questionable choice to use this as your demo if you're going to say, like, have to disclaim that's not financial advice. That's funny, though. Oh, this is also terrible. Where's NVIDIA? That's the real one we should be looking at right now. Ask about Kamal. Okay, hold on. I can do that, actually. Ask it for Kamal. Let's see. Let me come back here. SDK Vercel AI. Oh, I see. Okay. GPT 3.5 Turbo. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. What are your thoughts on Kamal? The Ruby gem. You can add more modules with the plus. I see. Okay. Let's try this. Oh, how incredibly original. As an AI, I don't have opinions. However, insert what looks like an opinion. Why don't you use a MacBook? Personal preference. I like playing games on my Windows device, and then I end up developing on it too. And then for like the videos, I just use the WSL stuff because it keeps it accessible for people that are looking at it. Like my reasoning's always been, if you use a Mac, you can reasonably figure out how to run my Linux commands. But if you use a Windows device and you see me running Linux commands on a Linux device, then you're probably thinking that's not accessible to me. But if you see some dude on the internet using like using WSL, you're probably thinking to yourself, whoa, how's he doing this on Windows? Like there's something there that I can do to make this work like everything else. And then you can go watch other tutorials, which does unfortunately turn me into like a WSL advocate in some sense, but mostly it's just like it helps expose it to people. Kamal is a popular Ruby gem for building command line interfaces and other interactive applications. Developers to define commands, options, and arguments in a straightforward manner. Okay. And then this one just says, I don't have opinions. However, Kamal is a Ruby gem that provides a simple and efficient way to work with dates and times in Ruby programs. Okay. And now ask it to create a UI for Kamal. I don't even think, dude, I don't even think they can reply to this. Can you create a UI? Let's see what it has to say. Yeah, because they're, oh, input text date. Okay, anyways, I'm going to come over here. Let's do this. We're going to use like an actual thing. Hello, Mr. Or sorry, hello, I don't know. What do we call you? Hello, Dad Tuber chatbot. Okay, Mr. WSL advocate, man, it sounds funny. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like I'm an advocate for it sometimes, but really I'm just like, there's so many Windows developers out there that go like they try to learn Rails and then they're like, oh, I don't know how to do this because it's all in Linux. Or I don't have like I don't have Linux or Mac experience, or I don't have those devices. Now it doesn't seem like it's too big of an issue because I feel like it's pretty well known. People use WSL. Like back in the day, I'd get these messages. And then people would be like, oh, is it okay that I don't have a MacBook, or should I just give up on Rails? Like I would literally get messages like that. I'm like, dude, who cares what kind of device you're running? Just go install WSL. You can run Linux commands in there. You're going to be deploying it to a server anyways. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of a pain if you do like literal Windows development sometimes, because like then you have to find different versions of the gems and stuff. Like who really cares? Okay, what are your thoughts on Kamal? We'll do this in actual ChatGPT 4 instead of 3.5. Okay. See, this is at least helpful because it gives me something. On Kamal, the Ruby gem. Continuously evolving with gems being developed. Kamal might refer to a specific library. Is there another Ruby tool called Kamal? I don't feel like there is. Consulting Ruby Gems website or whatever. Yeah, so like it's all the same stuff. The memes haven't penetrated ChatGPT yet. That's fine. It's probably for the best. Yeah, this would be interesting. I think doing something like this would be fun again. I really like doing the Rails GPT integration with like the chat, and then doing it with 11 Labs was also really funny. Where you'd ask a question on the website would go off to OpenAI. OpenAI would come back to you, and then you'd get like your text prompt or whatever, and then you would take that text prompt, you send that off to 11 Labs. That would then generate audio, and then the audio would come back, and you'd play the audio, which was a really fun like use case. Rails ChatGPT 11 Labs. Kamal in my language means awesome. That's pretty cool. Let me see. Maybe I can find it in here. So Kamal is Kamal. That's funny. ChatGPT. I want to find the video that did the replying with the voice. Not this one. We need. Oh, this was also funny. There was a website that was selling prompts. So they the service would charge you pay like $3 to get someone's prompt that you would then put into like ChatGPT. And I was losing my mind at the time because I was like, that's really I mean, I guess we're already here now where we're doing this opportunistic stuff. See what Kamal means in Arabic. Arabic to English. Use ChatGPT to generate ChatGPT prompts. I mean, sometimes that unironically works. Let's see if we. Let's see. Ooh, oh wait, here's one. I mean, I highly doubt there's a difference. Yeah, of course. It's just weird when you see these people like doing this stuff. Let's see. What does Kamal mean in Arabic? Perfection. That's funny. Kamal is a word. Yeah, apparently. My language is Hindi, by the way. Yeah, like people are so lazy. Yeah, I want to find the one. I swear I did this at some point. There was one with a OpenAI 11 Labs integration. I have to find the first one, and then I should be able to find the second one. But this search result's not really doing me any favors. I have to find, where is it? Not this one, not this one. Not that one. Generative speech AI, right here. There it is. This was the one. So if you search awesome in Hindi, it would come up as Kamal. So you're sitting there like, how do I deploy awesome? How do I deploy Rails with awesome? Let me see. 11 like that. This is all done. Give me the demo.
Hello everyone, Dean here. Today we're going to do some cool stuff with AI. Hello everyone, Dean here. Today we're going to do some cool stuff with AI.
So yeah, I used my own voice. I recorded a thing in 11 Labs that used my voice as the profile. You would type some text. It would then get sent to OpenAI, come back, and then you would generate that text. And then this would, or that would then generate the voice file. The voice file would come back, and then you'd play that audio file, which was, there's really no like practical purpose for it, but it's always just fun to do those projects and then be like, oh, cool, look what we did here. Let me see. So I want to come into our index page. We'll come in here. There's an extension to Postgres to do vector searching. Ooh. Oh, this is for Neon again. I use it and it's kind of cool. Oh, one sec. Nope, wrong one. There we go. We're back. Okay. I have oranges. I use it and it's kind of cool. It's open source, so you don't need to use Neon in order to use it. It's shameful in scamming people. Yeah, like that whole buy prompts thing. I've seen quite a few YouTube videos on that where people are doing something similar, and that's what it clearly is. It's just it's opportunistic. I do not. Hello, the man kid. Nice to see you again. We are 3 hours into me maybe writing some code today. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, this is you don't need to use Neon in order to use it, but you can. Yeah, so I still have to play with this at some point. Lines of code today, 0. I have a feeling that's like the goal is to get me to eventually like write 0 code and then just be completely and perpetually stun locked into doing other stuff. But I'm always going to find a way to write code or a reason to write something that's code related. You guys can't stop me, no matter how hard you try. Greetings from Chile. How did you learn Ruby on Rails? I learned it from Mackenzie Child's 12 and 12 challenge initially. And then from there, I just started building out my own apps. So I went to Google, or I went to YouTube, and I was like, how do I learn Ruby on Rails? And then I found Mackenzie Child's 12 and 12 challenge. And then that kind of just spurred me on from there. Neon has a great product idea, but it's so unstable for use in prod unless you go for the enterprise plan. Seems to be a running theme there, isn't it? Only the enterprise plan has SLA. Yeah. I once have a call with my voice saying I'm with police and they're taking me to jail. I spend 40 minutes talking before I hang up the call. Yeah, that's like that. You know, you're getting to a point where now you don't even want to like respond to phone calls if you don't know the person, because they might just be like sampling your voice and getting ready to like use it for malicious purposes. Look, you can try and get me in a side quest, but I'm on a mission. We're going in the links form. It says the create link button. We could also put a sort link button here. And that's what I'm going to do. We're going to put that like, what is this? We could do that like right here. Link to, see, I already got a line down. It doesn't even matter if it works or not. Link to test, and then we'll say this goes to root path. Like that. Yeah. Yeah, I did it. Do you recommend any blog or project to learn good practices in Ruby on Rails? I feel like everyone always mentions the Odin project. I feel like this is like the main recommendation. And then there's also Chris's stuff over on Go Rails. So if you go over to gorails.com/path, that's like. Any thoughts on Laravel? That's actually on the list of things to learn. So like yesterday we did, we learned Next.js. Like I actually did some programming yesterday and I did some learning. And then I think the next one on the list is Laravel for learning. So that's going to be one where it's going to be, stop saying what I'm slowly typing. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's going to be the next one. I want to sit down and I want to start learning all these different frameworks because I feel like I've gotten really, really lazy and in like my comfort of Rails the last couple of years. And I think it'd be good for me to like get caught up with everything because there's so many new frameworks and tools and terms and strategies and techniques to learn that people throw them around sometimes. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds good. But I don't want to be one of those people that's like totally out of touch with what like everyone's doing. All right, watch this instead of coding. I'm sensing a hidden agenda here. All right, Vercel AI SDK. Oh, okay, hold on. The Vercel AI SDK is an open source library designed to help developers build conversational streaming user interfaces. Okay, it's free. Interesting. Yeah, so like with Laravel in particular, that's one where everyone's always like, "Oh, you should go learn Laravel. You should go try Laravel because it's like, was it Laravel and Rails?" I frequently see it like compared to Rails, and that's where I'm like, "Ooh, you know, if it's drawing comparisons, maybe there is a reason to go look at it, to see like why these comparisons exist and where they're coming from." And then there was a couple of tweets around the time that Devise wasn't working too well with Rails where people were like, I can't believe y'all are still relying on like a gem for this stuff or a plugin as opposed to this just being natively built in. And that was before like we added it. And I was like, you know, that's actually a fair point. Like if they have something out of the box you can use, it is weird that we're still relying on this stuff. And now look, now we don't because of the like, communication between them and seeing that there is another way to do things where we could like set this up ourselves. There's like a Next.js chatbot. There's an OpenAI starter. All right, I got to pick one of these. We'll pick one of these templates and we'll see what it's doing. We'll go with the chatbot. Oh, okay, so this is the one we looked at earlier, but this is for a different use case, I'm assuming. Okay. Explain technical concepts. What is a serverless function? Okay, so, and then does this, let's look at the GitHub page and let's see what they're actually doing here. Well, we don't want to, well, maybe let's come in here. There's like chat. Oh, and there's a route file. What is this? This is going to truly test my understanding of what I allegedly learned yesterday. So let's go over to chat ID page. And this is getting the chat component with our app actions. So maybe go look at these. You are the best. Okay, so let's go look at that one. Let's go look at the chat actions. So come into app, actions.ts. This is grabbing it from here. Okay, so this is the code in tutorial form. Okay. Using a route handler for your API requests is a recommended way to use the Vercel AI SDK with Next.js. There's a minimal route handler for using the chat AI. Okay, so yeah, OpenAI, it's setting this up. And then which one is it using? Okay, so this is GPT 3.5. I had a feeling based on like the, I don't know, the interaction that came back that this was using like one of the older ones as opposed to like GPT-4. This definitely seems like it's a GPT-4 type thing or a GPT 3.5 type of response where it's like, I don't know, you can just kind of get a feel for it if you do it enough. What is this? Have to sleep by? Yeah, good night. Thanks for hanging out. It supports a lot of models. Watch the sidebar. Oh, I see. A hugging face stream. Well, this one's actually pretty cool. That'd be an OpenAI. Yeah, I still have to go through and like actually set up a like locally host one of these things. Locally host like a LLM. Because I was trying to get one of the ones working forever ago, like one of the meta ones, and I ended up running into a bunch of problems with like running it on my hardware. I think it has to do with just like my hardware constraints. Llama. Yeah, I was trying to do, it was like when Meta announced their OpenAI. It was like Llama 2 when they announced it, and you had to like, the whole sign up process was terrible. It was like they emailed you something, you ended up having to like edit a file or something to even get access initially. It was very strange. Watch the models tab. I see. Oh, wow, yeah. There's a lot of options here. I didn't realize there was that many, but then I haven't really checked in like a year or so. So let's come in here. You can install it with Docker, really. Maybe that's something that I should do at some point. Set up like a local Llama 2. I think there's actually been a couple people that requested something like this, like a local LLM, and then use that with Rails as opposed to doing API requests that you get charged for. So maybe I'm going to take this Llama, and I'm going to put this in my notes. We're going to add that. Because I'm always looking for like video ideas or project ideas or something. Because there is like a lot that you have to do to get all this working. Llama image, latest ports. Gotcha. So you have like, do you have the command memorized? So yeah, you'd run this, and then these are how you connect to it, or how you do like your API requests. I think this would be a good thing just to cover, so that people can see like there are alternatives to the paid options, and like that there's ways to actually use them. Because I feel like for a lot of people, they run into the trap of thinking that like, oh, it's used in a different framework and that's it for the tutorial. That means that's the only resource on it. When in reality, there's like plenty of other ways to learn it. But like, of course, if you're a new developer, you just look at something that's not literally what you're working in, and you're like, the barrier is too high here. So yeah, but I have to actually like sort this now. Otherwise, I'm going to run into trouble. Oh. Wow, it did not like that. Did that crash the stream? I think that crashed the stream. All right.